Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for waiting this evening. I know it's a bit of a late start, but we had a late night last night. I hope you all are enjoying your Saturday. And just give me one moment here. I'm pre-warning you. I'm not in a kitchen. It is okay. I will be back in a kitchen soon. But at the moment, I am not in a kitchen. So, give me one moment. Hi, guys. Please goop the button. That's right. Please like the video or dislike it. I appreciate all of it. Okay. Already noticing there's a clock behind me that is ticking really loud that I'm gonna have to turn that off. Okay, it's not a bedroom. This is a living room slash bedroom. I don't know. Don't ask me. Anyways, let's start watching Judge Kim. Let me keep going. I didn't want to keep you guys waiting for long, but I am here. If anybody's new here, welcome. Tonight we're going to be watching Detention Dockets. It's one of our favorite shows. It's how a lot of us got into court watching to begin with. We play a little game with these. We play a game I like to call Detention Docket Dinners. The rules are this. You can vote as many times as you want. You can change your vote. You can change your mind. You can vote 50 times if you'd like. But what's going to happen is Judge Kim is going to have these detention hearings, and they are a bit different than adult detention hearings or adult bond hearings, if you've heard those before. So keep an eye out for what you think is different. Ask any questions you might have in the chat. We have an awesome community in chat here. Couldn't do it without them. Wouldn't want to be totally honest with you. That's the truth. Hi, Donna. Hi, My Crazy Life. Hi, guys, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I saw you all talking about geese in the chat, and I wanted to show you a video of that, but with my YouTube daddy slapping me yesterday while I was live, I'm not going to do that one live. I'll do it later. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present to you the continuation of our ongoing series, Detention Docket Dinners, featuring Judge Kim, KCC, and all the rest of the crew. Also, I didn't ask yet, but if you could please let me know what you've had for dinner in the chat, that'd be great. And if you didn't like what you had for dinner, that's okay. Put what you wish you had for dinner in the chat, and that will work too. Also, if you're new here, you might notice that there are points being thrown around. People gambling, people getting points. Don't worry. They come after you watch the show for a little bit and people give them out, all that kind of stuff. So don't feel bad. Just say hi in the chat, and believe me, my mods, everybody will take care of you and welcome you in. So, Mayor says he wishes he had steak for dinner instead, but he had cheese hot dogs. His wife is away this week, guys, so I don't know how many hot dogs Mayor has left. CRD had baked potato soup with garlic bread. That sounds delicious. I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I had Popeye's chicken. It was really good, as usual. I love Popeyes. It's only just opened here. So, anyways, I just said without further ado and then ado. So, here we go.
All right, welcome to the detention docket for the 323rd District Court. It is Monday, January 11th, 2021. So, to comply with the Texas Supreme Court Emergency Order number 30 related to the coronavirus, we are not conducting in-person court proceedings, but we are using Zoom remotely. However, to comply with the Open Courts Act of the Texas Constitution, we are broadcasting these proceedings on YouTube for the transparency and the public to be able to see what happens in a public courtroom. No portion of this detention hearing may be copied or recorded or broadcast. Violations are punishable by contempt of court of up to 6 months in the Tarrant County Jail and a $500 fine. The court would like to remind everyone this is still a court proceeding, so the court does expect everyone to behave appropriately for court. That means please refrain from laying down, being in pajamas in bed, in the lavatory or in the shower. Please do not be walking around or moving or in a moving vehicle, as this is distracting for everyone else in this hearing. Also, please do not have bright lights or windows behind your head, as that shadows out your face and we are unable to see you. The court does expect everyone who is not an officer of the court to have their camera on and be muted until it's your turn. Check. Looks like we're good. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start. I think we have somebody from the Tarrant County Jail. And we have, is that, where is he? I just lost him. Oh, is that Mr. Mendoza?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's out of order, but we'll do that first. All right, Mr. Mendoza, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. Been here for 10 days, so I'm reviewing your case, decide whether to keep you or release you. We have a court hearing set up. I wish I didn't have to keep you, but the fact that you were caught at the border trying to leave the United States of America gives me great concern whether you'll return to the court proceedings in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and detain you. All right, Mr. Adler, if you want to take a moment.
Yes. Señor Mendoza, buenos días.
Buenos días.
El juez acaba de decir todo lo que he dicho las últimas veces que estuvimos aquí, que tenemos una corte presente, una audiencia presente, pero él no está cómodo dejándote salir de la cárcel porque lo que pasó y donde te encontraron con inmigración en El Paso, así que él te va a aguantar ahí en la corte hasta que tenemos la audiencia con él. Judge, I paraphrased you, but pretty much told him what you said.
I believe his certification hearing is on January 19th.
That is correct, Judge.
Okay. So just let him know, it's just a couple of weeks and we'll be done with this case.
Señor Mendoza, un par de semanas más y se termina el caso, por lo menos en la juvenil. Que tenga buen día y hablamos pronto, señor.
Gracias.
Okay. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Adler. All right, next we'll have Cameron Newton.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Do you log off? I think they're supposed to bring Cameron Newton. Hey, Ed, do you want to call the jail?
Are you having deja vu? Because I'm having a bit of deja vu. Shut up, Judge Kim. Seriously. You interrupt me so much, and I'm just sick of it. Are we having deja vu? Because I've watched a lot of these a lot of times. I remember the kid skipping the country too, but then I didn't remember Mr. Adler talking about it. So let me just... It goes all the way. I think this may have been the last set, but you know what the good news about that is? Wait, that's 11. 2021, 11. Is the next one 11 too? So guys, we do this live, as you can tell. So sometimes we don't know which one we're on. That's mostly just because I streamed until 4 a.m. So it got a little crazy.
At least to her.
Expected to have their camera on. First in court proceedings, we are on Zoom, and in order to comply with the Texas Open Courts Act, we are broadcasting these proceedings on YouTube, so the public may observe the proceedings going on inside a public courtroom. Would like everyone to know that this is still a court proceeding. People are expected to behave appropriately for court. That means please refrain from having moving backgrounds, being in bed, in the lavatory, being in a car, eating food, having domesticated animals, smoking, These are all things that have occurred, and we're going to ask you to behave appropriately for court. Also, please do not have bright lights from behind your head, as that shadows out your face. It makes it difficult for people to see. If you are an officer of the court, you're excused from having your camera on. Otherwise, everyone else is expected to have their camera on and them to be in the camera and not focus at a ceiling or otherwise. So, all right, I think we're good to go. We'll start with Bria Lynn Anderson. Oh, no portion of this may be copied, recorded, broadcast. Violations are punishable by contempt of court of up to 6 months in the Tarrant County Jail and a $500 fine. All right, so Ms. Anderson, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. When a kid's brought in, you have to see a judge within 2 days, and I have to decide whether to keep you in custody or release you. If I keep you in custody, the law says you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. We have appointed Ms. Tillman as your attorney. So I guess, Breland, you're in custody. Ms. Tillman, you requested this hearing. For what purpose did you request this hearing?
Sorry, mediation was not successful, and Braylyn has requested to be placed in her aunt's home. The aunt is on Zoom with us, and she's been a 1-0. She constantly, so the prosecutor is offering DPP on this case. I think it's appropriate that Braylyn be released, at least to her aunt. She doesn't, there's too much conflict right now between Braylyn and her father. But we are asking that she be released. I believe we have a hearing on the 19th, and Mr. Lewis can give you more information.
Mr. Lewis, why didn't we give her a drug test when she came back in?
This was her, well, it's not her first referral to this department, but I don't know that I can explain why we didn't, just the fact that we didn't. I believe since she wasn't on probation and there was some discussion when she was initially detained about mediating this,
right,
they just did not.
All right, Mr. Lewis, if you can remind detention that whenever a kid has been here before, when they're referred back, the court is ordering a drug test. Okay, just, I mean, it is what it is, but if you can just remind them, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And so, all right, so Aunt, you are here?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Jesse. All right, so how are you related to Braylyn?
I am her aunt, her mother's sister.
Mother's sister. Okay. And do you have any other children in your home?
Yes, sir. I have a 12-year-old daughter.
Okay. That's the only one?
Yes, sir.
You understand, Braylyn has this assaultive history. This is actually her third assault case that she was brought here for. So, yes, knowing that, you're still comfortable with Braylyn to live with you?
I am fine with Braylyn living with me. I have discussed with Braylyn to live with me prior to this incident. I don't know if Braylyn has really opened up and really been truthful, but she just needs to be honest about what's going on.
Okay. So you didn't really answer my question. You're comfortable,
yes, sir,
with your daughter, even though this is her third assaultive case?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where do you live? Like, what county do you live in?
Tarrant County.
Tarrant County. Which city?
Fort Worth.
Do you know if Braylyn has a history of running away?
I'm sorry, sir?
You know if Braylyn has a history of running away?
Yes, sir.
You know, or she does?
I know. Yes, sir.
Okay, so does she or does she not?
Yes.
Oh, she does. Okay.
Your Honor, if I may,
Yes.
I need to correct something that I just spoke to. A drug test was in fact done. It's simply not populating on the new version of the detention hearing report.
Okay. What was the result of the test?
Positive for THC.
Okay. So, Tania, you know she smokes weed. Are you still comfortable with her coming home with you?
Yes, sir.
You're not worried about her giving weed to your daughter?
I'm not. I have rules in my house. Braylon has stayed here before. She knows she has rules here. So I'm very comfortable when Braylon has rules here, sir.
Okay, so I'm just playing devil's advocate, but you know there's rules in her dad's
Understand.
house too, not to smoke weed. You understand that she was willing to break those rules at her dad's house. I'm a lot of my questions are focused around your daughter, right? So, I mean, you having a generous heart to allow Braylon into your home, but what would happen if your daughter, because of this, started running away, smoking weed, and becoming assaulted? I mean, are you willing to take that chance to have Braylon come home with you?
I think Braylon needs more structure, and I'm willing to take that chance. Yes, sir.
I agree, but okay, if you're willing to take a chance, I'm not going to second guess you as a parent. If that's, you know, as a parent, if you feel like it's a safe environment for your daughter, then at this point, I'm going to trust you.
Yes, sir.
The last thing I want is for you to end up with a CPS investigation because you're being generous. You see where I'm going with this?
Yes, sir.
All right, so where was Braylon going to school?
Fossil Ridge High School.
Okay. And so you're gonna have to re-enroll her?
Yes, sir. To my knowledge, she's still enrolled. So.
But are you gonna be able to take her to that school?
Yes, sir. It's just, yes, sir.
All right. Like, do you live in the Keller School District?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But she was living in Haltom City.
Yes, actually, where I'm at, I'm in Keller ISD. Is just right down the street.
Right, so, but where was she going to school before?
This year, she was going to Fossil Ridge in Haltom City is where it's.
Fossil Ridge goes to Haltom City? So part of Haltom's in Keller ISD? Large part of Haltom is?
It's like right connected to each other. It's. Yeah.
I was unaware. All right. Well, so Miss Jessie, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and release her to you. I'm going to place her on electronic monitor. I'm also going to place her on the sweat patch. And so, Berlin, do you know what a sweat patch is?
No, sir.
Okay, sweat patch is it's like a sticker they put in your arm. It absorbs the oil coming out of your skin. And so what happens is, as if you use a controlled substance, your body processes it, comes out in the oil in your skin, and the patch collects it. We send it off to the lab, and the lab will tell us whether you use anything illegal or not. So this is a 24/7 monitoring. You can't cheat it. If you take the sticker off, it will not stick back on. It's a one-time use only, all right? So I am doing this because I do not want you to negatively influence your cousin that evidently you're gonna be staying with, all right? So this is an opportunity that your aunt is stepping up to help you. Please don't burn her, all right? You're at a point now where you're running out of people that are willing to step up for you. You don't want to create a situation where you run out of options, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Berlin. All right, so next we have Terry Lee Eric.
Your Honor, this is an out of custody. At presently, I have not seen the family show yet.
Okay, let's go ahead and issue a DTA for Mr. Eric. And we'll have an in-custody detention hearing whenever we get him, all right?
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, sir. All right, Elton Olive.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning.
I am substituting in apparently for Kathy Glowthorpe, and so I have not talked to the parent on this case.
Judge Kim, did you call Del Garza?
No, not yet. That's, oh, Del Garza's been canceled. I guess he's still in custody. Is there a family to pick him up? I heard he was released.
I have a young lady here.
Yeah, Destiny De La Garza. I heard she was released.
She's right here, Judge.
Do we know what's going on with the family? I thought she was going to be released to a family member.
She's in foster care, Judge. I'm not sure.
Okay. Do we have any from the department here? You know why Stephanie, do you know why she was? Okay. We're trying to find out.
Yes, sir.
McComber, if you can hold off, and we're trying to figure out what's going on with her.
Okay, yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, Alton Olive. All right, Mr. Olive, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. I'm here to make a decision whether to take you into custody or to keep you in the community. If I take you into custody, the law says you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You do have a right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. Mr. Youngblood has been appointed as your attorney. Mr. Youngblood is on the screen. Good morning, Mr. Youngblood.
Morning, Judge.
All right, so Alton, let's see what's going on. You are 15. Your history with the department started when you were 13 with assault, family violence, impeding breath or circulation, and a misdemeanor assault, family violence, which you got probation on the misdemeanor for. Then you are 15, you get arrested for engaging in organized crime, and theft of mail, and engage in organized crime and theft of mail, and engage in organized crime. So now, well, Ms. Brown, is he currently on probation?
Yes, he is, Your Honor.
For the engagement in organized crime?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, so you're on probation for a felony offense. Let's see. Back in November, there's an administrative hearing because you were violating your probation, curfew probation, leaving home without permission for hours at a time during the night, suspected drug use, and skipping school. You agreed to change your behavior and do better. You denied drug use. So 2 weeks later, we gave you a drug test and positive for marijuana. So we added drug curriculum. A week later, mom made a runaway report at 3 o'clock in the morning. If she woke up and you were not home, you returned back a few hours later. Police came to the home, and the police closed the runaway case since you were back home. The next day, mom called, said it was midnight and you were not at home. A couple of days later at 2:45, you weren't at home. On December 1st, see, your mom sent a screenshot to you from the assistant principal at your school saying that you're excessively absent and going to be expelled. When mom asked you about it, you said you were not at school. So 2 weeks later, gave you a drug test and positive for weed. You refused to participate in the intake for Phoenix House in Dallas. TYRC advises that at your intake assessment and continuous drug use, you benefit from residential treatment. We've been calling your mom every week. Mom tells us that you're disrespectful, you smoke weed and not going to school. Every day you come home late. When she asks where you are, you get disrespectful. And she said you've also stolen money from her, but she did not make a police report.
Your Honor, and may I add that we did administer a drug test this morning, which returned positive for THC as well.
Oh, okay. So, Ms. Brown, I have a question. What has he done right on probation?
Well, Your Honor.
Can you name 3 things that he's done right?
No, sir, I can't. I'm sorry.
All right. Can you name 1 thing he's done right?
He's kept his meetings with me.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, well.
And he meets with his therapist. His therapist is also on as well.
Hello, Mr. Martinez.
Hello, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Martinez, I mean, at this point, I mean, I see in here that you're recommending inpatient at TYRC, but inpatient for what?
His substance abuse. He's
for marijuana?
Actively using. Yes, sir. He's actively using and he's admitted that he's not going to stop.
Right.
So just before Judge Kim gets to put his opinion in, I love being able to pause it and talk. Again, welcome anybody new. Thank you so much for being here. I am right here. I'm in the Zoom call. You might have missed me before. I like to sit in here. Sometimes I like to take the spot of the parents. If they don't show up, I like to give that kind of support. Anyways, what you'll notice here is these are juvenile detention hearings. They originally aired in 2020 and 2021. We've been doing this series for a while, so we are now into 2021. They are down in the 323rd District of Tarrant County, Texas, which Judge Kim is the district judge in, and he has a number of associate judges that work with him. They basically what happens is when a kid is brought into the detention facility, they need to see a judge within 2 business days. After 2 business days, they see the judge and the judge will decide, and we may see some of those here. You'll notice a little difference in the language, but basically the judge decides whether or not to detain them or to release them. So also, I'm Canadian, but I do know a little bit about the US system because I watch court all the time. So in the US adult system, there is always a presumption of the right to bail or bond pre-trial, so pre-trial release. But in the juvenile court system, that is not the presumption. And so what the sort of rule is that the judge has to determine whether or not they are a danger to themselves or others and whether or not they have adequate supervision at home. And so a lot of these hearings are, in fact, an impromptu interview for the parents. The second thing that's really different that is just absolutely almost backwards is that you'll often hear the judges say that nothing that they say in these detention hearings can be held against them at any other hearings except for detention hearings. So that means that it's the opposite of the general Miranda warning that people get, which is anything you say can and will be used against you. So the thing that you have to know about this situation is that when these kids are brought into detention and initially detained, they need to get their behavior level up. There's 3 behavior levels, 1, 2, and 3, 1 being the best, 3 being the worst. And then there are different levels within them. So we have O for outstanding, we have A for acceptable, we have U for unacceptable, and then we have C for confined. So the worst you're going to see is a 3C. That's a 3 confined. That kid's not getting released. Just standardly, that's not how it works here. If you have a 1O, that is a possibility for release. But the other thing to keep in mind is that these kids are in a detention facility and the rules are very strict. The type of things that you may drop a level for are the types of things like being overly playful, talking out of turn, looking at the wrong person, very, very minute things. And there are lots of kids, unfortunately, that are within this system at this point who have behavioral and neurodivergent issues. And so it's real hard for them to get there sometimes. Because we watch these in succession, we're going to see some of the same things over and over again. And you're going to get to know some of the people and the kids because they've been here a while. Something that I want to make clear is that when I'm, waving my red flag, this is not normally I have a kitchen thing, but if I'm waving my red flag around, it's because that's a red flag. That's a big thing you should be paying attention to. But as always, it's not about judging. It's about learning and trying to improve ourselves. I have a 14-year-old daughter myself, so I feel for everybody in these situations. And my dad was also a juvenile detention guard at a maximum security facility in Canada while I was growing up. And then he worked with children for intensive release. So kids that were at a likelihood to be reoffending, he worked with them to prevent them. So I'm really aware of the issues and the sort of mountain that these kids are needing to climb. You'll hear me say it and I'll preach it always. Early intervention, early childhood intervention is the thing to do. We need to be pouring money into the early part of this when these parents are pregnant, not when the kid's 14 and having a problem. Anyways, let's continue. What Judge Kim, oh, that's why. Oh, also I have ADD. And Judge Kim interrupted this because, or I interrupted Judge Kim because what Judge Kim's going to say here is that you can't be addicted to marijuana. Now, perhaps, I believe you can be addicted to anything. You can be addicted to court. You can be addicted to coffee. You can be addicted to marijuana. Generally, that's because of the way you are like using it as a crutch. And so I think it's short-sighted to say, oh, you can't be addicted to marijuana, so you can't get treatment. If somebody is wanting treatment, then I think that they should be trying to give them it. Even if it doesn't end up revolving around marijuana, it's important that you do help when somebody says they're having an issue with something. Judge Kim, you have to understand, is an elected judge, which means that he's accountable to the people in that county to vote for him. And so when he ran for this position, he ran on a platform of fiscal responsibility. I don't think the kid is here. He's not under me, I promise you. I don't think the kid's here, weirdly enough. But anyways, so he ran on fiscal responsibility. He ran on like lowering the times that courts take for the juvenile cases, and he did effectively do that. Marijuana can be an absolute gateway drug, but more of a gateway drug is actually nicotine and alcohol. But marijuana is absolutely a gateway drug. You know, water is a gateway drink. That's what I always say. You got to be careful. Absolutely got to be careful around it. Life is a gateway drug. Anyways, so while I actually agree that marijuana is way, 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 way less detrimental to adults, not kids, adults that want to smoke it responsibly in their life, I do think that it, is something that they take a very big stance on. Part of what we laugh about all the time is whenever a kid comes in here and they test positive for weed, Judge Kim always asks the parents where the kid got the weed. And I always think to myself, like, Judge Kim wants to get his hands on some good weed, but he can't. So he's always trying to get the hookup, right? Probably not. Anyways, Judge Kim has a few like little things you can do to get him on your good side. We saw that the other night with this one dad who like broke it out. It was great. But anyways, I am reading the chat, guys. I am, enjoying seeing that you guys are chatting, and I am, well, CRD, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going down to Texas. He's threatening to throw me in jail. I'm not going down there again. Not yet, anyways. Let's continue. I think really what is actually more important than gateway drugs to think about is something that Gracie mentioned last night that I'm really meaning to make a graphic for, but it's ACE, Adverse Childhood Event. You're going to find those are very, very, very common in these kids. And unfortunately, and again, I'm not blaming the parents. These parents were probably raised by parents that didn't have the tools either. However, we can get better. Domestic Terror says, my kid was willing to swallow anything and never asked what was in it. I don't know how she survived the streets, but she did. Well, I'm glad that she did. I think you're talking about an older child, obviously. But when you said that, when I read that first, I immediately thought of when my daughter told us that she swallowed a penny and we had to take her to the hospital to get x-rayed, and she hadn't swallowed a penny. That was an entire lie. So that was another reason I'm really happy to be Canadian. That didn't cost us anything. Thank God. All right, guys, let's continue on. We'll hear Judge Kim bitch about weed, and let's go.
So I've got a question. This is the first time you look familiar, but I think this is the first time we've met. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so and this is kind of an open-ended question I have for all our JPB staff and probation and everyone, and nobody can answer me. Can you point to me or refer to me any kind of study that shows that marijuana use is a disorder that can be treated successfully with a 1-year sobriety rate?
At this point in time, no, but I could research it and get back to you.
Man, if you could, because I've looked and I've asked and I've looked and I cannot find a single study, peer-reviewed study. I've seen some articles, but I haven't seen a single peer-reviewed study that shows that you can treat marijuana use in any method that has a successful 1-year sobriety rate. There's some that are counseling-based therapy, and there's a combination of 2 different therapies that result in a 1-year sobriety rate of about 28%. And that's the best possible outcome, which makes me think.
That is not the best possible outcome, Judge Kim. I have to interrupt you yet again, and I'll tell you why. Because, first of all, why is marijuana sobriety the absolute goal here? Do you want to talk? I can absolutely point you to some studies where we have opiate addicts who we are able to get off of heavy duty opiates onto marijuana in not even smoking it, eating it. So therefore the negative effects are really, really low. And again, this is frustrating because this court operates on its own sort of way. So it's Judge Kim's way. Even if you came to him and said, here's a perfect study for exactly what you wanted, he wouldn't take it. That's not how he goes. So I know you see my pop-ups. I know. I'm bad. Anyways, let's continue.
Think that marijuana use is just a choice. It's not an addiction. It's just choosing to do this, just like choosing to sneak out, choosing to skip school, choosing to disrespect mom. So, Mom, I think you and I are on the same page. This is not a disorder. This is an attitude problem. And you know what? You can't coach attitude, right? You just really can't. So, at this point, I'm kind of hesitant, Ms. Brown, to do inpatient treatment unless somebody can show me why this is going to help. I think we need to seriously consider more of a behavioral type approach rather than a substance abuse type of approach if we're going to do that. So Ms. Brown, if you suggest and you're recommending a placement search for behavioral issues, I will defer to you. I trust you. Ms. Brown, you've been doing this for a long time. And so we'll do that. If not, then TJJD may be the only remaining option because they do have all the possible treatments. Mr. Martinez, I certainly appreciate your optimism. Until somebody can show me the science, I like science. So.
Agree, Judge. Agree.
Thank you. Ms. Brown, do you have any thoughts?
No, Your Honor, I agree with you. I believe it's more of a behavior thing as well.
Yeah, behavior and attitude.
One of my concerns was Mom just expressed to me, not only was it the marijuana use, he would use, I guess, at her home. And every time that she would come home, her home smelled like marijuana. She's even found the swishers in her home along with lighters and everything. So that was another thing.
Which is even more, it goes back to it's a disrespect issue.
Right.
It's not even his home. He doesn't pay the security deposit. He doesn't pay the mortgage or the rent. He doesn't pay the insurance. It's just an attitude problem. So, Mr. Olive, I'm going to go ahead and detain you, and we're going to set this. We're going to see. I'm just going to make a decision. At this point, I encourage you to be on your best behavior because that's going to make the difference between you going to TJJD or you going to a placement for behavioral therapy. All right? All right. Thank you, everyone.
Judge, can I take a moment to talk to Mr. Haynes and ask you, could you please open text share on this case for me? I think y'all thought it was Kathy Lorthorpe, but now it's me.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Youngblood. All right, thank you, Mom. Well, we're going to try and get through this, but I appreciate what you're doing. I really appreciate your communicating. There's some things that you and I, nothing we can do until Ethan decides he's going to do it. All right.
Right.
So,
Right.
but
Judge.
unless you engage with us and communicate with us, there's no way we can try and help him.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, Jacoby Price.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Price, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. I'm deciding whether to keep you in custody or to release you. If I keep you here, you'll see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. We have appointed Mr. Green as your attorney. So, Mr. Price, I feel like I know your name.
Okay.
We've never met before. All right, Mr. Price, so you're 16 years old. And yesterday, Fort Worth PD brought you in. They're saying that a person with a weapon call, when they got there, met with victims. He was sitting on the porch, holding his head in pain. They waited for a Spanish-speaking officer to assist. And they learned that the victim's neighbor had video footage of the incident, reviewed it. In the footage, tall, thin, black male, seen walking around southbound in front of the victim's driveway, walks up, produces a handgun, searches the pockets, strikes the victim on the head with a handgun, and knocked the victim down. Suspect was wearing gray sweatpants and a blue hoodie, and they ran northbound. Victim confirmed the statements as he was cleaning branches in front yard, saying they held him at gunpoint, searched his pockets, found nothing, and struck him on the left side of his head. They found an eyewitness who followed the suspect in the vehicle to a residence. Detectives went there to talk to the occupants of the location. Jacoby's grandfather opened the door, told the police the only people in there were him and his two grandsons, gave consent to speak to the grandsons, consented to search. Jacoby matched the video and eyewitness on a BB pistol located in Jacoby's closet in a shoebox. So, all right, well, Jacoby, I'm gonna let you know that I have a serious issue with kids that have guns or even BB guns that resemble real guns, because you were willing at some point to make somebody afraid that they were gonna die. And I just have a problem with kids, that behavior. Kind of glad that that guy didn't have a gun on him, because he could have turned around and shot you based on the reasonable fear and legally then justified. So at this point, good to detain you. We'll see what your behavior level's like. We're open to the idea of releasing you since it wasn't actually a real gun, but I'm gonna be very cautious about it. I'm gonna keep you here. I'm gonna watch your behavior levels and make sure that you are not a danger to yourself or the community if I was to release you. All right. Thank you, Jacoby.
Okay.
Okay. So Macomber, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So CPS said they're going to pick her up. So we're going to hold off on the detention hearing today.
Okay.
And if they don't pick her up today, then we'll have the detention hearing tomorrow.
Sounds great.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Peyton Scott. Wait on Peyton Scott. There we go. I guess we have a parent coming in. Wonderful. All right. So, Peyton, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. I'm making a decision whether to keep you here or to release you. If I keep you here, you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You do have a right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney, Mr. Bronson. Good to see you, Mr. Bronson. All right. Okay, so, Peyton, you're 17, you just turned 17. December, you're supposed to appear before Judge Terry for a motion of modifying your probation. You were on probation for a felony level offense. And we passed the motion to modify hearing, and we held an out of custody detention hearing. And hold on a second. Mr. Williams was on this, wait, hold on a second. December 11th, you were ordered by Judge Terry to wear sweat patch, not use drugs, complete QIRC aftercare, and be on electronic monitor until the next motion to modify hearing. On December 22nd, we collected the sweat patch, sent to a lab. It was positive for methamphetamine. So January 5th, we had another sweat patch. It was positive for methamphetamine, amphetamine, and fentanyl. All right. So during your probation, you're not following your parents' rules, you're missing appointments, fail to attend school, maintain passing grades, fail to maintain sobriety, continue to use drugs with failed UAs, leaving home without permission, in violation of the safety plan. So previous tests back in May, June, July, and October of last year, you're positive for THC, ecstasy, cocaine, opiates. You also admitted use to acid, methamphetamine, mollies, Vivarin, Adderall, fentanyl, and mushrooms. Also skipping schools. And Peyton. The fact that you're skipping school. So the three things I really have to consider is whether you're going to, I mean, I've considered other things, but the main things for me, whether you're going to come back to court when you're supposed to, whether you're a danger to yourself, whether you're a danger to others. The fact that you have all the street drug use makes me concerned you're a danger to yourself. The fact that you're violating the safety plan makes me concerned that you're a danger to others. And the fact that you're skipping school and not following the house rules makes me think you probably will not appear for court. So I'm going to go and detain you. I'm going to lay this out very clear for you right now. You are now 17 years old. So the law allows me to either detain you here at a juvenile facility or in the downtown jail in the adult facility. All right? That depends on you. If you can be a good example to other kids here and you're a level 1 outstanding, I will let you stay here. You're kind of earning your keep. However, if you have an attitude, if you don't follow the rules, if you don't do what you're supposed to do here and your behavior level drops, probation will let me know and I will send you downtown and you stay in downtown until your case is resolved. Okay? Just laying that out for you. But right now I'm keeping you for multiple reasons. I'm letting you know, how do you stay at Kimbo or how do you go downtown? Unless you're asking me to go downtown right now, at which point I will send you to central lockup. Would you rather stay here or go downtown?
Here.
Okay, then we'll go and keep you here, but I'm expecting you to keep your behavior level up. Don't test me because there are many kids that thought that I'd give them second or third chances. I really don't. I don't play around with that. Okay. Yes, sir. Do you have a question for me or do you want to tell me something?
Can I ask my grandpa to do something for me, please?
Your grandpa? Well, sure. Well,
can you text my girlfriend, please, and tell her that I'm okay? I'm just in jail.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. My password on my phone is 010804.
That's right. So, Grandpa, how old is his girlfriend?
What?
How old is the girlfriend?
I'm not sure exactly the range.
Oh, Grandpa, have you met her?
I've seen a picture of her. He hasn't been around her either, other than when he first met her, because he's been in home, locked down home. So it's kind of like a virtual girlfriend right now.
Okay.
Judge.
Hold on a second. I don't want you to tell me anything because I don't want you to put yourself in the spot. All right. We got Mr. Williams. Are you aware of this girlfriend? Is Mr. Williams here?
No, Your Honor, I'm not. I'm not aware of a girlfriend. Okay. I did want to add something regarding Peyton, his last patch, which was administered. He was brought in on last night and basically say that it had been removed.
Oh, so he took off the patch too? Yeah.
The last patch, yes.
Well, I mean, so the thing is when they take off the patch, I presume he's positive for everything, but he's been positive for everything. Like, I don't know a single drug that we test that wasn't already positive. So, the way it is. All right, thank you, Mr. Williams. All right, Peyton, well, please keep your behavior level up, otherwise we'll send you downtown. All right, so next we have Felicia Willingham.
Right here, Judge Kim.
Oh, thank you. Felicity, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. You know, when a kid's brought in, you have to see a judge within 2 days. I have to decide whether to keep you or release you. If I keep you, you'll see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to an attorney. You're currently on probation for unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. And let's see. Ms. Castillo, did we give her a drug test? Ms. Castillo, I just saw her a minute ago. Oh, you're on mute, Ms. Castillo.
My apologies, Your Honor. I did see the chronologicals where one was requested, but it did not show if it was completed or not.
Okay. All right. Okay, so.
Your Honor, if I may.
Yes.
A UA was conducted. She did test positive for marijuana.
Okay, so she's on probation, smoking marijuana, and now, yesterday at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 4th PD was called to domestic. When they got there, they made contact with the victim who said she got in a fight with her daughter. Said that you were a habitual runaway. In the morning, ran away from Aunt's house, was gone for 3 hours. Aunt said you can't stay there anymore due to a fight that happened on New Year's. Called mom, said pick up Felicity. When mom got there, you're upstairs lying in the bed, and told mom you're not going to go with her. Mom grabbed your leg to move it off the bed, and so you kicked mom. And you stood up and struck mom 3 times in the face and pulled a strand of mom's braided hair. Do we have a parent here? Doesn't seem like it.
No, Your Honor.
All right, officers confirmed the report with Felicity, said it was the same except that the mom who hit her first. And so you're brought here without incident. And you've been living with Aunt since released in October. All right, well, Felicity, I'm not going to release you to your mom or to your aunt because it seems like you're causing problems over there. And not only that, but you're on probation, you're smoking weed, then I'm just going to keep you here. Do you have a question for me, or do you want to tell me something? If you want to tell me something, I don't think your attorney wants you to. But if you have a question, your attorney, I think, doesn't mind. Mr. Hall is your attorney, by the way. Ms. Nkoya couldn't make it. So do you have a question for me?
Yes. I was going to ask, can I at least try to finish my probation off here and then try to consider me going back to my mom and try to talk back good with her?
You're going to have to pull that mask away from your face a little. I can't hear you.
I was trying to see if I can finish my probation off here and to see if my mom was willing back after my probation in April was over with. Is she willing back to take me back in her home? Because before I got arrested, she told me that I could go back, and I was supposed to go back yesterday, but the police told me he was gonna take me here to talk to somebody, and I'll go back home last night, but.
Yeah, I mean, your mom's the victim of this offense. Like, I'm not comfortable releasing you back to your mom. In fact, that's probably why we had you living with Aunt, because I wasn't comfortable with you living with your mom.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. I told her I was trying to live with my aunt because I've been good on my probation since.
No, you haven't been good. That's the thing. You're smoking weed while you're on probation. How can you tell me you're doing good on probation?
When I came in, she told me I tested negative for everything.
You are not negative for everything. You're positive for weed.
I never
Colbert, you want to say something?
Your Honor, if I may, I apologize. The information that I just relayed to the court, just looking, that information is incorrect.
Okay.
We did request the UA, however, it has not been conducted as of yet, Your Honor.
Oh, so she's refusing the UA.
No, I took one last night.
So?
She told me I tested negative for everything, and I was like, okay, because I know I haven't smoked weed. I haven't did that since I've been over my own house. I've been staying in my room.
All right, so Ms. Castillo, we still don't, can you find out and let me know?
Yes, I will, Your Honor. I would also add information to the court that 2 days prior to New Year's, there was an incident in which Felicity is alleged to have pulled a knife out on her aunt's granddaughter. Though I was on vacation, I still communicated with the aunt, had instructed her to call the police at that time. She decided to give Felicity another opportunity. Yesterday morning, about 8 o'clock in the morning, and informed me that Felicity was gone from the house. About an hour after she and I spoke, Felicity showed up. Felicity had no shoes on. She had very light clothing, no jacket. Apparently she was walking around the neighborhood for a number of hours with no shoes, no clothing. And mom was supposed to have taken her at that time to Cook's Children for a mental evaluation, which I believe is kind of what ensued whatever argument between mom and her at the house.
Yeah, Felicity, I think it's just you're a danger to yourself and to others if I was to release you. And so, did you have a question for me?
Yes, I was, it's from my probation officer. Because I had told her, I was like, I didn't put a knife on the granddaughter, I put a knife on.
I don't want you to talk about that, right? This is not a trial. This is about me deciding whether to release you or keep you here. At this point, your aunt doesn't want you because the decisions that you made, and your mom doesn't want you at her home right now because of the decisions that you made. This is what happens in life. You make bad decisions, you have bad consequences. Right? This is where we're at, but a large part has to do with the decisions that you've made. So Felicity, let's see where we are at the next detention hearing and decide whether we have a place for you or we need to look at a placement or maybe TJJD. Okay, but ultimately it goes down to you making better decisions. Thank you, Felicity. All right, at this point, the Texas Family Code says that any court proceeding with children involving children under the age of 14 should be closed to the public. And so the remaining child is under 14 without being able to find good reason.
Thank you next, Judge Kim. Thank you next. If you're just joining us, welcome. We are watching our detention docket hearings. These are from 2020, 2021. This is down in Tarrant County, Texas, and it's Judge Kim. As you saw there, Judge Kim has some particular views about how he thinks things should go. One of the really interesting things about his court, and which is why, honestly, like we're gonna let them roll in here while I talk a little bit. He is one of the strictest judges around in terms of what time you need to be there. He doesn't care if your phone blew up in your hand or if there could be 1,000 reasons for you to be late to getting into his court hearing virtually. He won't let you in afterwards. And he relishes in that. I love that. I think that as usual, these are sad stories, absolutely. Oftentimes, when we hear about something like this, where a kid has already gotten to this point, they are very, the amount of intensive help that would be needed in order to support that child is almost, it's unimaginable. Some of the cost of what states send these kids to these facilities for, if they reinvested that at an early age, the dividends they would get would be huge. But it's very hard to see that return on investment sometimes because I actually don't know why, because I can see it extremely easily. But I've also done a lot of work with parents, and I used to run a parenting group and do support for them. So, like, the key is getting to people and making them feel like they have a community and people around them that can help them and helping them. That's basically it. Honestly, though, how many times this Zoom changes size sort of makes me want to cry a little bit. Some days it doesn't, but some days it does. Anyways, here we go. But yeah, Judge Kim, yeah, you love him, some days you hate him. Oh, hi, Judge Kim. Fine, I'll be quiet. I'll let you talk.
Docket for the 323rd District Court for Thursday, January 14th, 2021. Applies to the Texas Supreme Court, Emergency Order number 30. We are not conducting in-person proceedings, but in order to comply with the open courts provision of the Texas Constitution, we are broadcasting these proceedings on YouTube so the public can observe proceedings going on in a public courtroom. No portion of this Zoom hearing may be recorded, copied, or broadcast. Violations are punishable by contempt of court of up to 6 months in the Tarrant County Jail and a $500 fine. This is a court proceeding, so the court does expect everyone to behave appropriately for court. So please refrain from having bright lights from behind you that may shadow out your face, from walking around, being in a moving car. You may not use the lavatory while you're in court or lay down in bed. Please be dressed appropriately. And please, if you're in a car, make sure it's not a moving vehicle. All right, we're going to start with Hussein Amusawi. He's the out of custody detention hearing.
And Your Honor, I'm filling in for Mr. Graham this morning.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Keenan. Ms. Moreno, please refrain from moving around while you're in court.
Your Honor, the family is doing this out of custody from home, and the child is at home too.
Wait, this is an out of custody detention hearing. How is the child not here?
Well, the reason, Your Honor, is that the family is simply asking, he was released from detention on the 7th to go live with an aunt. The mom and the other aunt live with him normally, and they are the victims in the case. The aunt that stepped forward has fallen ill, and the family is simply asking the court's permission to allow him to return to the mother's home so she can properly care for him and supervise him. My report indicates that in my conversations with them, things are going very well at the aunt's house, and they're simply asking. I submitted a progress report, and you told me to go ahead and schedule an out of custody.
Right.
It might have been my presumption that it was going to be okay to do this through Zoom rather than, because we're not looking to put him in detention. We're just simply asking the court to allow him to live with his mother and his aunt that he lived with when the offense occurred.
So have we been able to what contacts have you had with him while he's been with the aunt?
I haven't had very much contact at all, Your Honor. Just
is he even on the camera?
He was supposed to be.
Where's Hussein?
She's muted.
Yeah, please unmute yourself. Yeah, where's Hussein?
Oh, he's over here, sir.
Over where?
The judge wants you to have him on camera.
Yeah, he's supposed
right
to be
here. Oh. Your Honor, can you see him?
No.
Actually, looks like they're frozen, Judge.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's move to the next one until they can actually figure out how to get a child in front of the camera. Victor Alvarado.
Good morning,
Your Honor, I did want to make you aware that a member of the victim's family is present for the hearing.
I'm so sorry. Can you see him now?
No, you're frozen and your video's not working and Hussein's not on camera. I'm not sure why he wasn't on camera from the beginning. So we're moving on to the next one until you can figure out your connection problem. If you figure that out, then we'll have to come here to court in person. All right, so Victor Alvarado, are you here?
Yes. Yes, sir, Judge.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Alvarado, this is a 10-day detention hearing. I'm to take a decision whether to keep.
Kevin, I haven't had a chance to talk to him about the plea bargain offer we discussed yesterday, so I will call him after the hearing, but it may be nearly noon.
Understood.
And I don't see Victor's mom on here. Are you there somewhere?
Mr. Youngblood, she was on Zoom a few minutes ago. I don't know.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, there she is.
All right, Mr. Alvarado, this is a detention hearing. The point of this hearing is to make a decision whether to keep you or release you. If I keep you here, the law says yes, have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have a right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. Your attorney, Mr. Youngblood, is here. You're 17 years old, but we're keeping you akimbo as long as your behavior level is what outstanding, and your level is what outstanding.
Judge.
Yeah, Ms. Castillo, why is his behavior level only outstanding since the 7th? What happened?
Your Honor, he took contraband in his room, and he was marked down to, he stayed level 1, but it was level 1 acceptable, but he got it back up to level 1 outstanding.
What was the contraband?
It was, I believe, his mail.
His mail?
Yes, Your Honor.
Was it attorney mail?
No.
Judge, if I might speak on that point.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, just to let you know, my understanding is that he's actually had 5 level drops from level 1. 2 of them were confinements since he turned 17 in last August. Just want to make the court aware of that.
Yeah, can you tell me about those?
Yes, Your Honor. If I recall correctly, 3 of those level drops were due to him being assaulted in the back, none of which he instigated. All of them were, he was physically attacked by another client in detention.
Ms. Castillo, just give me 1 second. Petra,
Yes, sir.
nobody wants to look at the ceiling of your car. This is court. Please be on camera. Okay, please do not be, no, you cannot attend court from a moving vehicle. So please join us.
I'm not driving. That's
I don't understand. Okay, so Ms. Castillo, please proceed. Oh, you're on mute. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. The other 2 were, Your Honor, he took an apple into his room, and then a second time he took playing cards in his room.
And those are all after he turned 17?
I don't recall. I believe one of them was prior and the rest were after 17.
Mr. Alvarado, your constant rule breaking on this one since you turned 17 gives me great concern. Do we have a parent here?
That was her on
That
the
was?
phone. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so it gives me great concern that your constant rule breaking and your microaggressions, that you just don't want to follow supervision. You were on probation when these alleged aggravated assaults happened. And I gave you plenty of warning that once you turn 17, you have to do everything right. It's exempt for the kids. So I'm going to go ahead and detain you because I feel like you're not safe for the community. I'm going to go ahead and have you housed in the downtown jail because you're not following the rules here. All right. Thank you, Mr. Alvarado.
Your Honor, may I ask I'll inform you of something. Mr. Boneberg and I have been discussing a plea bargain on his case, and we're very close to getting one. I think it would be an administrative problem for the court to handle that, but I may be wrong. If he gets moved to the downtown jail, I'm not sure how we would do the plea.
They can appear through Zoom through the same terminals that they use for the adult courts. Or if you want it in person, we can bench them back to do the hearing in person. It's just notify the court which one you prefer.
I was thinking mostly of getting the plea paperwork filled out and so forth.
It would just be a downtown visit like you do. You just have to visit them downtown.
Okay, well, I wonder if the court could consider waiting till Friday on that so we can see whether or not we actually can get this resolved. It's been pending for a year.
Waiting till tomorrow?
Yes, sir. Does that work for you, Kevin, wherever you went?
I will defer to the court. I think it's the court's.
Well, Kevin would need to talk one more time to the victim's family, I think.
Young bud, I will give you that deference. I'll wait a day, but
okay.
Schedule tomorrow afternoon to go downtown.
All right. Well, I'll be calling Mr. Alvarado as soon as I get done with Judge Cummings' case, which comes after one more of yours, and then I'll inform the court.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, if I would just reference, I believe the victim's family is trying to get your attention.
The victim's family is trying to get.
Yes, I believe Ms. Perkins.
Miss. All right. I mean, this is a detention hearing. The victims don't have, I mean, actually, nobody has the right to say anything. This is really for the court. It's an administrative hearing. So I don't even see.
I don't think she has anything to add. I think it was just a facial expression when something was said. I don't know that she's wanting to speak.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Alvarado. All right. So the Amusawi, your camera needs to be on.
Your Honor,
it's still a court proceeding.
Your Honor, they're having trouble with their connection. I'm on the phone with them now.
Okay.
I think it's an internet issue, not necessarily that they've turned the camera off. They're trying to get back on the call.
Okay.
Your Honor, it did look like they put the child in the view at one point when you were in the other hearing. Do you want to just do it over speakerphone or have them come in right now to detention?
I mean, this is, because Tracy, you're kind of stuck in a weird spot because this is Mr. Graham's request and you're filling in for him. And so, all right, well, they're there for now.
I mean, I'm going to be on the detention docket until I think the very last one. Yeah, mine's the very last one. So if they can get up to detention, I'm still here.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, they're telling me that they can hear and they can see everybody, but apparently the transmission back to us isn't working.
I'm sorry, can you say that again, Mr. Richardson?
Sorry, they're telling me that they can hear and see everything, but for some reason, the transmission from their home to us through Zoom isn't working. I don't know if that makes a difference or not.
Well, I mean, it does. This is still court. I'm like, this is not negotiable, right? I mean, if you're going to be in court, you have to be in court. You can't just observe as attendee. If we were in person, people wouldn't just be able to sit there and do whatever they want, drive around in a car, smoking cigarettes in court.
Agreed. I'm checking to see if they can drive into Kimbo now.
Yeah, if not, I mean, it's an out of custody requested hearing. So, the detention, the release order would stay in place and they can come back tomorrow if they want.
Okay.
They want to be in person.
Yes, sir.
All right, Brian Hemphill. Mr. Youngblood, one of your kids is on a 10-day with Judge Porter, so we're trying to get the paperwork so we can get an order so you can get to Judge Cummings. All right. So I'm aware you're trying to work on it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Brian, are you Mr. Hemphill?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. You've been here for 10 days, so I'm reviewing a case, deciding whether to keep you or release you. If I keep you, you'll see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. If you're not afford an attorney, we'll provide one for you. All right, Brian, you probably have like 30 priors. You've been released, cut off your monitor, assaulted some other residents, Now you're level 2, so I'm letting you know now. You're level 2, so I'm not letting you out. You're not yet 17, so you have to stay here. In August, we brought you in. We signed a warrant for cutting off your EM. And you receive referrals for murder and aggravated robbery, which I guess, Ms. Smiley, those happened before the current case that he was released on for the EM. Is that correct?
No, Your Honor, those happened, the aggravated robbery happened 5 days after he cut his EM off, and the murder happened the 6th day after he cut his EM off.
Okay.
And they were referred in November.
Unsuccessfully discharged from Lake Granbury.
No, Your Honor, he wasn't unsuccessfully discharged. He was accepted and they pulled their application after he received the murder referral.
Was he was on probation for burglary of habitation when these offenses came in?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, did we give him a drug test?
Let me see when he came in. Yes, Your Honor. He was positive for marijuana when he was referred in custody on August 25th.
Okay. And then is the case that he was on probation on, the burglary of habitation, was that a determinate or indeterminate?
Indeterminate.
Indeterminate, okay. Do we have a parent here?
No, she was informed of the hearing. She's not on the Zoom.
All right, Mr. Bloomberg, my understanding is the state's intending to file asking the court to waive jurisdiction over this child.
That is my understanding. This is one of Ms. Smith's cases, so I'm getting caught up right now, Judge, but that is my understanding of the.
Kevin, is it going to stay in Courtney's name or do you intend to reassign it to someone else?
No, it'll be Alex Haynes now.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And that's been reassigned, Lisa.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So. All right. Lisa, this is your case? Okay, I want to make sure.
Yes, Judge. It's
I didn't want Dr. Proxy. So the way I see this is set for. Ms. Smiley, do we have a next court date set yet?
Yes, Your Honor. It is February the 17th.
Okay, and what is that?
That's still set as a determinate sentence hearing.
Okay. All right, so this is this is what I'm gonna do. February 17th. At least I was asking for your case to make sure. So yes. February 17th, 7 determinate sentence. If the state files requesting the court waive jurisdiction, if you're ready for that, we'll go on that. If you're not ready for that, I understand they can be complicated. So we'll wait, but we will proceed on, there's a motion to modify that should be filed already. So we'll just proceed on the modification. So either way, we're gonna have a hearing for Mr. Hemphill, whether it be a certification hearing, determinate sentence hearing, or a motion to modify. Is that fair enough? I want to make sure you have enough notice, Ms. Eric.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so yeah, so either way, we're having a hearing. It just depends on what y'all are ready for, decides which hearing it is. Okay?
Can we go ahead, Judge, and get the diagnostic begun then?
Sure, absolutely. Ms. Smiley, can we start the full diagnosis study and investigation?
Yes, sir, we can do that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Can I just make one comment? I certainly understand why you're saying what you're saying about having at least one of the hearings on the 17th. I wonder though, because if we're ultimately going to have a certification hearing, if he's certified, I don't want to speak for the prosecutors, but I can't imagine they're really going to care about the motion to modify a whole lot if he gets certified and sent downtown. So that seems like that was probably the most contingent on what happens with the others. That doesn't mean I won't do it if that's what you order. It just seems maybe not like the best use of our time.
No, I understand. The problem is that he's causing all kinds of problems here at Kimbo.
Yes, yeah.
So if
Oh,
there's
I see.
enough
I
to
understand.
commit him, at least he's getting services in TJJD if he did in fact violate his probation. That's why. If he was behaving here, I'd wait, but he's really interfering with other kids here.
I understand.
All right. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Miley. Rashonda Henderson. All right, Ms. Henderson, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. When a kid's brought in, you have to see a judge within 2 days. I have to decide whether to keep you or release you. If I keep you, you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent. Your right to attorney. Ms. Paula Reed, please turn on your camera. Thank you. All right, Ms. Henderson. See, I issued a warrant for you back in October for cutting off your electronic monitor. And you've been abscond status since October. And you're currently on probation for a felony evading arrest with a motor vehicle. Give you a drug test. So while you're in probation, you're smoking weed, cut off your EM, and ran. So, all right, Rashonda. Well, one of the things I consider is if I was to release you, whether you appear for court. Do we have a parent here for Rashonda?
The parent was notified, stated that she would be here, Your Honor.
I'm here.
Are you here? Okay, there we are. Hello, Mom.
Yes.
Mom, do you know where she was all this time?
From my understanding, from between her mama's house and in the streets.
Oh, can I ask who you are?
No, I'm her grandmother.
You're a grandmother, okay.
Yes.
All right, but you didn't know where she was?
Like I said, partially, only thing I knew, she was either out there in the streets or with her mama.
Okay, all right, that's too bad. All right, well, Grandma, I'm afraid if I was to let her go, she'd go back to the streets. And you and I both know what happens to 15-year-old girls who live on the street, right?
I agree.
All right, Rashonda, so you're being detained. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Okay, Mr. Youngblood, I'm gonna do this one out of order. Detention. There should be a Jimmy McGurusa. If y'all can get him ready, I'm gonna do that one after Dylan Moore.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hall, do you have a conflict with one downtown as well?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, so Mr. Moore, I'm Judge Kim. This is a 10-day hearing. We're deciding whether, oh no, there's an attorney requested hearing. So I'm deciding whether to keep you here, release you. If I keep you here, you'll see a judge every 10 days. So Ms. Taylor, you requested this hearing.
Good morning. Yes, Your Honor. Thank you for accommodating. Yesterday, we were set on Mr. Moore, and we had to pass his case because they're still doing a placement search. And he's been, I'm hoping, I'll let him tell you, but I believe he's been level 1, and he is requesting release. I did see his guardian, his grandmother, on the call, so I know she is, at least was present.
All right, okay. So my first question, Mr. Lewis, he's been level 1 since January 12th. How far did he drop before then?
Let me look that up, Your Honor. He has never dropped below 2 acceptable during this current stay in detention.
All right, so this last time in January, how far did he drop down?
Two outstanding.
Okay.
Sorry, let me correct myself. 2 acceptable.
Why did he drop that far?
Not following instructions, looks like 6 violations of that.
Okay. So basically the same problems he had with grandma, which is not listening and not following the rules.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ms. Taylor, but the idea is if I was to release him, it's the exact same situation with him demanding to grandma that she give him drug money, right? I don't think he's shown me that he's improved and that he can be respectful and follow the rules. So Dylan, I know you have your hand raised. If you want to ask me a question, I think Ms. Taylor's okay with it. If you want to tell me something, I'm sure she's not okay with it. All right. So do you have a question for me or do you want to tell me something?
It's a question.
Okay. What's your question?
I'm not finna ask my grandma for no more drug money.
No, that's not a question though. See, a question starts with a who, what, when, where, how. All right. So do you have a question for me or do you want to tell me something?
It's a question.
Okay. What's
okay? How I was doing that is it because I was hanging out with the wrong people?
No, that's not a question. You're telling me something. Is there information that I have that you want to obtain?
I want to go home because I really
Yeah, but that's not, you're looking for an answer. You're looking for a decision, not for an answer. You don't have a question for me, all right? So, you know what? Here's the thing. If you want to get out of here, you prove to me that it's safe to release you from here, and you haven't done that. All right?
Can I ask one more question?
You haven't asked, you can ask your first question because you haven't asked a question yet.
Can you please put me on the monitor?
Oh, I can. I'm not going to, but I can. You have to show that it's safe to release you to the community, and you haven't shown that. If you're not following the rules here, respecting our detention staff, Dylan, look at it this way. The reason why I do this, if you can respect the rules here and our detention staff, that tells me that you can respect your grandma and respect her rules. But if you can't even do it here in a secure facility, I know you're not going to do it for your grandmother. So what you can do is you can prove to me that you can follow the rules, and that tells me that I can let you go. But if you don't follow the rules here, you're not going to follow the rules at home.
This is my first time dropping low.
Well, hold on. You're not asking me a question. Ms. Taylor does not. And the reason why, Dylan, is she doesn't want you to put yourself in a spot. I don't want you to put yourself in a spot.
I don't care if I really want to go home because
I know you do. And believe it or not, I want you to go home too. But I don't want to put you in your grandmother's house where you're causing more problems. Either you follow the rules or you don't. If you don't follow the rules, you'll be in custody all the way to your maybe 19th birthday.
This ain't the place for me. I can tell you that right now.
Dylan, I disagree. Because until you start following the rules, this is the place.
I can show you so much. I was planning on to go back.
But you're not. Dylan, you're not showing me anything. You're showing me that you belong here because you don't follow the rules.
That was only one time.
So?
I done changed so much. I'm not finna lie. I'm not finna do none of that. I really want to go home because because this ain't the place.
Dylan, hold on. You're not asking me questions. Do you have any questions about what I expect from you?
I know you respect the 1-0, and I'm a 1-0.
You dropped. Do you have any questions about what I expect from you?
No, sir. I'm trying to go home.
Look,
I don't need
Dylan, here's the thing. All your life, you've had people.
Jump on me, pick on me.
Do you mind if I speak and finish my sentence, or are you not interested in what I have to say? That's a question.
You can talk, sir.
What'd you say?
You can talk.
Thank you. So my point is, all your life is you've had people that have enabled you, that let you interrupt them. Grown-ups let you interrupt them. Grown-ups that let you cut them off. Grown-ups that are talking to you, you don't listen to them. All your life you've had that. And finally, you've met a person that's going to hold firm. I believe what I believe. I believe that children that are not 1-0 and keep it and behave will not do it at home. So either follow my rules and get out of here, or do it your way and stay here. It's that simple. Either follow the rules and get out, or ignore the rules and stay here. It's up to you.
Can I say this then?
No, it is that simple. That is what it boils down to.
Fight me for no reason, and you want me to tell that stay here and then stay in this environment and people jump on me, pick on me, but you don't care. That's what you pretty much telling me right now. I'm trying to.
You're gonna start crying now? How life is unfair? Are you done crying about how unfair life is? How things aren't right? Whose fault is it that you're here in the first place? Tell your grandmother to give you drug money.
I was not asking for no drug money. I was asking for a couple of dollars for me to get a black amount.
Mr. Taylor, I'm sorry. I'm kind of engaging this a little bit, but there's a reason. Hopefully you can bear with me. All right. Smoking weed while you, yeah. So you're smoking weed And it's my fault that you're here.
You can drug test me every single day.
I don't have to. You've already smoked weed. I already drug tested you.
I'm not finna smoke no more weed.
Dylan, you know what? Stop making yourself a victim. Man up. Accept responsibility for what you do. You're victimizing yourself.
Pay my medicine. I'm finna go back to school. I'm finna do all that, what I need to do, so.
Are you done blaming everyone else in the world for your misfortune?
I'm blaming my own self.
You're not blaming yourself. Man up.
I ain't manning up, like I told you.
Then why are you whining?
You're trying to jump on me, fight me for no reason.
Are you done being the victim? I'm just curious.
I'm not trying to be no victim.
You are. You are making yourself a victim.
I'm trying my hardest in here. I'm trying my hardest. You can ask my lawyer. You can ask the staff in here. You can ask my grandma. She can tell you. The staff in here can tell you. That's my first time ever dropping. And then I done asked for me to go to the vet because I just asked why you take 3 points from me.
Here's the problem with your attitude is that you feel like you deserve a second chance. You deserve one chance. You know what? Miss Taylor, who I've known Miss Taylor since you were in Pampers, right? And she's never smoked pot and got caught for it. And she's probably I know her well enough, she's probably never smoked pot, right? That's the thing is, you're sitting here saying, I need a second chance. I only did it once. This is the only time. You got your chance and you messed it up. I'm giving you a chance to prove it again, but you don't deserve a second chance.
I'm not finna do it again. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm going back to school. I'm going to get me a job.
Dylan, the problem is you shouldn't have done it the first time.
I was at the wrong place at the wrong time, and
so you're the victim. Somebody else's fault.
It was
Stop
peer
making
pressure.
yourself a victim.
It was peer pressure.
So it's peer pressure's fault. You're making yourself a victim.
I'm not trying to make myself no
You
victim.
are though.
I'm gonna go home. I'm not need to be here.
Again, you're the victim. You're in a place that you don't need to be.
I'm trying my hardest every single day.
Oh, so you're the victim. You're doing your hardest, but the judge is unfair. The system's unfair. Stop making yourself the victim. Man up.
Like what I said, you don't want to see me go home.
So it's my fault because I don't want to send you home. You're making yourself a victim.
I'm not trying to make myself no victim. I'm trying my hardest every single day.
So the rules are unfair because
doing everything I need to.
The rules are unfair. You're making yourself a victim again.
But y'all letting kids who don't want that come back and back and back and back. Y'all let them out, but you don't want to let out.
All right.
Kids
You know what?
really
Dylan, I've made my decision. You're being detained. Thank you. Okay. Do we have Jimmy McGurusa? Edwin. Sorry, y'all. I don't think he's ever had that true conversation before in his life. And sometimes you gotta have that tough conversation. I remember when Ray Hall tried to make himself a victim in front of his wife, and that didn't work.
It never works, Judge. Hi, Ray. Hey.
We're going out of order, Jimmy. So, Jimmy, I'm doing this out of order because your attorney has to be in criminal court. So, I'm Judge Kim. This is a 10-day hearing deciding whether to keep you or release you. If I keep you here, you have to see a judge within 10 days. And so, you are, well, you've been here for 10 days and you were on probation for aggravated robbery. You pick up a new aggravated robbery case. And right now, you are level 1 acceptable. So I'm not going to release you. You know you have to be level 1 outstanding for me to consider releasing you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and detain you. Do we have a parent here for Jimmy?
Yes, Your Honor, she's right
All
there.
right. Mom, do you understand what I said?
Judge, repeat that.
Mom, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, your son is not level 1 outstanding. So if he's not level 1 outstanding, I don't even consider releasing him. All right, he needs to behave back there to get out. Okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Youngblood.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And thank you from Judge Cummings, Your Honor.
We have Samuel.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it.
What? Oh. Okay, I'm sorry. We're going over Abigail Grant. Is she available or do we have to wait a little bit? I don't think we've warned them. Yeah, we're going to do Abigail Grant next because Mr. Hall has a conflict with the downtown court. So at this point, we have Samuel Shimirimana with Mr. Lofton.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Mr. Lofton. All right, Samuel, I'm Judge Kim. This is a 10-day hearing deciding whether to keep you or release you. If I keep you, you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. Mr. Lofton is here. You've been here for 11 days. Your behavior level is 1 outstanding. Thank you. And so you've been here before for theft of firearm. Oh, you had a pending theft of firearm, burglary of vehicle from last May. And then now, while these cases are going on, Fort Worth PD brought you in. Victim said he's, clean out his vehicle. 2 unknown black males came up, pulled up a pistol, took the car, evading arrest in the car. And you did not appear for court, so you already had a warrant for you. All right, Samuel, so my concern is you skip court. If I let you go, I mean, I seriously consider letting you go had you not skipped court before. Samuel, do you have a question for me or do you want to tell me something?
I gotta tell you something.
Okay, your attorney does not want you to tell me anything. This is not your trial. This is simply, I need to consider, are you dangerous? If I let you go, are you dangerous to yourself? Are you dangerous to the community? Or are you not going to appear in court? Those are the 3 main concerns for me.
I got a reason why I ain't appear in court.
See, the reason's not it. That's something to talk to your attorney about, right? And that's, we can go, but I'm real hesitant because the last thing I want you to do is tell me the reason, and that comes back and hurts you, all right?
I can tell you the reason for it, and my mom, she gonna tell you too.
No, talk to your attorney about it, right? I'm telling you right now, this is not, I'm doing this to protect you. Okay? I'm not, sometimes I'm the bad guy, but I'm not always the bad guy. Right now, I'm trying to be the good guy, help you out, okay? So I just don't want you to put yourself in a spot. All right, so Jimmy, at this point, Samuel, at this point, I'm detaining you. Talk to your attorney. If that passes muster and that's a valid legal reason, like you were in the hospital or you were, in a detention facility somewhere, those may be valid reasons, but it's really up to your attorney to decide, okay?
Samuel, I'll call you in the next 20 minutes, okay? Once you get back there, okay?
All right, thank you. And if it turns out, Samuel, that it's a valid reason, Mr. Lofton can request a detention hearing, and we can go over it.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Lofton. All right, do we happen to have Abigail ready? Abigail's not ready yet? All right, I'm sorry, Mr.
She's
Hall.
right here. She's coming, Judge. She's right here.
Thank you. Do we have a JPD officer in the small courtroom? Could you angle that camera down a little bit? I'm only seeing the crown of the head of the
Yes, sir. We'll move it down.
child, or of the parent. All right, Abigail, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. I'm deciding whether to keep you here or to release you. If I keep you here, the law says you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. And your attorney, Mr. Hall, is here. So Abigail, you're 15 years old. You're level 1 outstanding. Good. You're domestic, got a knife, told your brother you can kill him. Brother grabbed your hand with a knife and hit you in the face. So you grabbed another knife, chased your brother. They locked themselves in a room. JPS did not think it was necessary to detain you further, so you're brought here. Mom says she is currently in quarantine, so she's not up here. I understand. Mom couldn't appear through Zoom?
Judge, she tried. She was having problems logging on.
Okay. What's her name?
Russell,
Okay. No, she appeared late, so she was been in the waiting room. All right, Christy Russell, are you here? Christy Russell? She's still connecting. All right, Raymond Bell, I'm not sure who you are, but your camera needs to be on.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. If you change your name and put CPS in front of your name, you can have your camera off.
Okay, I'll change it now.
Thank you, sir. All right, waiting on Miss Russell. Christy, can you hear me?
I know earlier she said she was having problems with her audio.
Okay. Have you had a chance to talk to her about releasing Abigail?
She said she does want her home.
Did she specifically state that she feels like her and her son are going to be safe?
Yes.
Okay. You're not implying that, right? She actually said that?
Right.
Okay. Miss Blair, is she taking medication right now?
Yes, she's been taking it in the back consistently.
Mr. Hall, do you mind if I ask her questions about her prescription or medication?
That's fine, Judge.
Abigail, you're taking your meds here. What are the side effects bad or are they okay?
There's no side effects.
Okay, oh good. You understand that I'm open to the idea of releasing you because you're level 1 outstanding. You've been taking your medication, okay? But you know that if you stop taking your medication, I'm gonna have to bring you back here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you understand if your medication, you don't like it, it's not working, the side effects are bad, you have to talk to your mom about getting your prescription adjusted, right? That's the right way to handle this. You can't just stop taking it, okay? Now, do you understand you're being accused of pulling that knife on your brother? You understand how, to a judge, if it's true that you actually pulled a knife, how it changes things. Like that's where it becomes a really big deal, right?
Yeah.
Do you understand? Like, I get it. You can argue with your brother. You're going to have a lot of passive aggressive things going on. That's just normal and healthy. But when it becomes a clear danger to somebody else, I have to get really, really concerned. You get that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So do I have to worry about releasing you and putting anybody in a dangerous situation again?
Probably.
I do have to worry about it?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel like it's safer for you to stay here than go home?
Yes.
Okay. You just want to stay here for a little bit longer and then reassess it? Or are you sure? Are you pretty sure it's going to stay like this forever?
It's gonna stay like this forever.
See, I don't want to hear that. Okay. Well, I mean, if you're asking me to keep you here to just kind of settle down a little bit more, I don't mind doing that. Okay. I want to work with you. So at this point, you want me to just set this for a week from now, and then we can reassess it and just go by week by week basis until you feel comfortable going home? Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
And as long as you're level 1 outstanding and you take your medication, then as soon as you ask me to, I'm okay with releasing you, okay? But I appreciate your honesty with me. I appreciate your self-awareness, that you're trying to do what's best for you and for your family. That means a lot for me. So that's why I'm giving you the keys to get out whenever you want. But you have to take your medication. You have to be level 1 outstanding, okay?
Good.
So as long as you keep your behavior level up and do what you're supposed to do, then you decide how long you stay here, okay?
I'll talk to her, Judge, and get to the bottom of her concern.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hall. Abigail, thank you. Tell your attorney or tell Ms. Blair if you ever feel like it's time for you to go home. As long as you're taking your medication, level 1 outstanding, you go home whenever you want, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Montez Otis. Mr. Otis, I'm Judge Kim. This is a 10-day hearing deciding whether you stay here or you go home. If you stay here, you'll see a judge every 10 days. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. You're level 1 outstanding as of 2 days ago. So, Ms. Young, how far did his behavior level drop?
Actually, Judge, he has been maintaining level 1 outstanding for quite some time. It's been that way for a while.
Okay. All right, so he is on probation for determined sentence, aggravated robbery.
Yes.
And he cut off his EM and took off. How long was he on the EM for before he ran?
He was on EM for 6 months, and then he cut it off on November 22nd. And he stayed amiss out there in the community for approximately 1 year.
Oh, November 22nd of 2019.
Yes, that's right.
And so he's gone for a year. That just gives you no opportunity to supervise him.
That's right, Judge.
Do we have a court date set for Montez?
Yes, Judge. He is currently scheduled for a determinate sentence hearing at 8:30 on the 20th before Your Honor.
That's for a revocation?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Otis. My problem is, do we have a parent here? Yes. Hi, Mom. Mr. Otis, I'm so glad you're level and outstanding, but you were absconding for like a year. Right? I'm just worried that if I let you go, you'll be gone for another year before we can, well, I'm not saying that you will. I'm saying I'm worried, right? And you understand why I have that concern. It's because you've done it before. Mr. Otis, do you have a question for me, or do you want to tell me something?
Judge, can I speak for him?
Yes, sir.
The last detention hearing we had, I brought up the point that Mr. Otis has been level 1 outstanding for over 2 months. And the conversation ended with you saying you were going to look at the underlying offense and you were inclined to release him after you were looking at, I don't know what happened after that because I was in Virginia, but obviously he's still here. But I'm just saying the last detention hearing we have had, you were entertaining the idea of releasing him.
Yeah, I think, Mr. Houston, what happened is I asked for the file and the social history was not in there. So I asked for the social history that was used during the disposition. And if I remember, I was wondering if the facts of the aggravated robbery were particularly bad or not. And if I recall correctly, they were particularly egregious. It was either a clear danger to somebody. I think it was whether it was my big concern, whether it was a real gun or not, and whether a gun was used or not. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was a real gun and it was fired.
No.
So I may be wrong, but I know I did ask for the social history in the case file, and I did look at that. But that was like the day after the hearing, because I would have released them the next day. So, all right, but this Houston, no. Thank you for bringing them back up, but yeah, I'm afraid that it's, we'll lose him for another year if I let him go. So, anyways, thank you, Mr. Otis. We have Jordan Saunders.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. All right.
Judge, I can't see myself. Can you hear me?
I cannot see you, but I can hear you. And that's good enough. All right, Mr. Saunders, I'm Judge Kim. This is a 10-day hearing. I'm deciding whether to keep you or release you. If I keep you here, you have to see a judge every 10 days. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. Ms. Taylor, you requested this detention hearing. And so for what purpose?
Mr. Saunders is, I'm sorry, I was seeing an error message on my screen. Mr. Saunders is set to have a psychological evaluation tomorrow, and he has been in custody since November. He came in very quickly, like 5 days after you put him on probation. But I noticed in the review today, in the report today, he was negative when he came into the detention facility on November 25th. It's my understanding he's level 1. He's maintained. I saw in the detention report.
Ms. Taylor, was he negative or did he refuse the drug test?
That was my understanding, but in reviewing Mr. Jennings' report, yes, my client. I'm showing on page 3 of the report. It's saying that their most recent drug tests last 90 days. And I'm showing one was administered on the 28th and he was negative for all substances. So I'm not sure where.
28th of what month?
November 28th, 2020.
Okay, but that's 3 days after he refused.
Okay.
Right, so, Mr. Jennings, did I ask for a hair follicle test?
Your Honor, I was not the assigned officer at that time. Reading the chronologicals from the court intake officer, that was not within the notes of the chronologicals.
Okay, Jordan's dad is here. Is that correct? I think I saw him before.
He is, Judge.
Okay, Dad, are you here?
Sorry, I had to unfreeze the speaker.
No, that's all right. All right, so Dad,
here.
I have a quick question for you. Does
Yes,
Jordan
sir.
have?
Yes, Your Honor.
Does Jordan have any African American lineage?
Not to my knowledge,
Okay.
no.
All right, so Mr. Jennings, let's go ahead and get a hair follicle test since he refused, waited 3 days before submitting a sample. I'm just concerned that he was trying to wait for his body to metabolize any controlled substances, right? And so we'll just wait for we'll take a hair follicle. That'll go back 6 months, Ms. Taylor. That gives us a better idea. If he's using street drugs like he was back in October, then I'm very concerned about releasing him.
I understand, Your Honor. Thank you.
So I'm just not comfortable releasing him right now. Given the history of drug use, given the fact that he was just placed on probation for a felony, picks up a new offense, this is a safety of the community as well as a safety of the child issue if he's using street drugs. Dad, I hope you understand where I'm coming from.
May I speak? But the new offense, excuse me, to my knowledge so far is that he was out past curfew, but actually there was no curfew that was actually assigned at that point, and his mother had knowledge of him being out.
So
and
I'm gonna let you know that
okay.
curfew is what's called a status offense and really doesn't bother me, okay? What
Okay.
bothers me about curfew violations is the parents don't supervise them, but if the parents give permission to be out, then that's fine. I have a problem with curfews. The problem with Jordan's is that there are people, there was male with a backpack triggered a Ring doorbell after they noticed the camera. Police went over and did looks like a welfare check, found Jordan and 3 other people. Let's see, hold on a second.
Yeah.
They found items stolen from the victim's car. So, a purse, another purse, a tablet, another tablet, and so another vehicle in the neighborhood was found with its windows broken, although nothing was taken. And then one of the suspects said that all were involved in checking the vehicles for property. And so that's why. So it's not just a curfew, this is breaking into cars and stealing.
Right, and those stolen items that apparently were stolen were in a vehicle that my son was not in. So
yeah, that's irrelevant.
So when all parties were involved, we don't know if all parties in the vehicle were involved. We don't know what they're really saying. But once again, I'm not here to dictate that. Correct.
Sir.
Correct. Yeah. My apologies.
This
My
is
apologies.
all about whether there's
I do
or
have
not.
a question though. I do have a question though. We did have this court date a day early because it was under my impression that it wasn't going to be able to be administered after his psych evaluation. I don't know if that is true or not.
I don't know if that's true or not either.
That's why I requested this, Judge. I'd actually last week attorney requested detention hearing for after his psychological evaluation because Judge Porter indicated if he kept his behavior up, he wasn't going to release him prior to the psych evaluation, but he would consider his release after. So I tried to get it scheduled for tomorrow afternoon, but it got put on the docket at 10:30 tomorrow. His psych eval is at 9. And I know Jordan wanted this hearing, so I figured the best thing to do was respectfully requested a day early. And if the court were inclined to release, we would ask that the release order be for tomorrow evening after his psych eval.
Yeah, not with the drug history. I want the fact that he refused. I mean, had he actually submitted a sample, that may be different. But when he was refusing, that puts up giant red flags for me. So we're Jordan, you kind of put yourself in this situation by refusing a UA. Okay. All right. So Jordan, I'm going to continue. We'll do a hair follicle test. We'll see what kind of drug use you've been using or not, hopefully not using. Right.
May I say something, Your Honor?
No. Do you have a question for me or do you want to tell me something?
I'm just a little concerned about how this.
That's not a start of a question. I don't mind giving the courtesy of answering a question, but the parent does not have a right to speak or present at these hearings. Right. So again, if you have a question, I'll give you the courtesy of answering your question.
Well, it's just what's being presented to me. I'm a little concerned about
That's not a question.
it.
Do you understand what the question is?
Well, maybe if I say what I'm saying, I can get to my question.
So you don't have a question yet. So
it is a question.
We'll see. No, it's not a question. All right. Thank you, sir. The Corian Titus.
Still black, Judge. I can't get my camera to start back.
Oh,
up.
that's fine, Ms. Taylor. Thank you. The question is a question. It starts with who, what, when, where, how.
Yeah, I didn't even get the opportunity to ask.
Sir, so will you stop interrupting me? Your child is gone. Is no longer your child in this hearing.
Correct. But you didn't give me the opportunity to ask.
And you have no right to ask a question. Please stop talking or I'll find you contempt of court.
Okay, you're sorry. I'm sorry.
Mr. Titus, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. You've been here for 10 days, and you have the right to see a judge every 10 days to make the decision whether to keep you or release you. Your attorney, Ms. Taylor, is here. Her camera is not working, but she is here.
Hi to Corian.
Hey.
So, Corian. 16, you had evading arrest case, which you got supervisory caution for. Back in December, police pulled over a vehicle, smelled weed, searched the vehicle. Behind the front passenger seat where you were sitting, they found a backpack that had 2 firearms, and you had a warrant for murder. Back in September, victim was shot, pronounced deceased. Witness gave a description on shell casing in the street. Witness said the vehicle was driven by. Several shots hit the victim and fled. Local cameras located the vehicle. The witness saw Corian in the front passenger seat, and witness said that Mr. Toure and Corian shot the victim. So, all right, and evidently you're a member of the blood gang. All right, we're set for adjudication disposition. Corian, I'm just, the level of offense that we're looking at. I appreciate your level 1 outstanding, but I'm just very concerned about the safety of the community as well as the safety as yourself if I was to release you. This is a homicide case. Of course, I'm worried about retaliation from either victim or other gang-related activities. So I think it's just best to keep you here, not detention. Thank you, Corian.
Thank you, Judge. May I be excused?
Yes, Ms. Taylor. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you very much.
Rudy Valley.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Ms. Reyes. All right, Rudy. Judge Kim, detention hearing, been here for 10 days, reviewing case. You're level 3 confined, so I'm going to go ahead and detain you. Thank you, Mr. Valley. At this point, okay. So at this point, I'm going to turn the docket over to Judge Porter, and he will resume these detention hearings. I'll be back for the last one, who is under 14. Thank you, everyone.
Judge, what do you want us to do about Hussein? Have you heard anything?
Oh, that's right. Hussein, is the family still here? Did they get their?
No, Your Honor. They're planning to come back tomorrow.
Okay.
And they'll be in the building this time.
Okay, that works out. Ms. Keenan, are you gonna be able to come? Like, you can still do it through Zoom. They'll be in the parent courtroom.
Well, I'm technically not their attorney of record. It's James Grant.
I understand. All right,
So
thank you, Ms. Keenan.
if y'all need me, I can be here, but otherwise, if y'all can notify him.
I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks.
All right, good morning, everyone. Charisma Diane Carter. Good morning, Ms. Craven. How are you?
Good morning, Judge Porter. I'm well, thank you. How about you?
Better than I deserve. Good morning, Charisma. My name is Judge Porter. The law says when you're brought into detention and initially detained, you must see a judge every 10 business days thereafter. This is your 10-day hearing. You have the right to remain silent. You also have the right to an attorney, and your attorney, Ms. Craven, is here. You have been level 1-0 for the past 6 days. That is awesome. You're scheduled for a motion to modify hearing before actually me on the 29th. Is that correct, Ms. Craven?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Charisma, keep up the excellent work of your behavior in the back. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you doing that because I know it's not easy. So I appreciate you being level 1 outstanding. I'm going to order you be detained today because of your history of running away. You understand that. But I'll see you again in about a week and a half, and we'll see how things go, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. That would be the order of the court.
Your Honor, may I be
All right.
excused?
Yes, ma'am. Good to see you.
Thank you.
See, Marco Chasoretta.
In that youth right now, Judge.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, Mrs. Oihe. How are you?
I'm good, Your Honor. How are you?
Oh, better than I deserve, that's for sure. All right.
Chasoretta.
Judge Porter, who are you waiting on?
Marco Chasoretta.
Okay, that's not me.
Judge, while we get that young man, if you wanted to go to the next one, we can do that right now, and that young man is en route.
All right, is Caleb ready? Caleb Dickerson?
Caleb. Come on, sir, you're up. You're up.
Sounds like Caleb was not ready. I know Mr. Adeniji was here. Is he still here?
Still here, Judge.
All right, there you are.
You're going before it. All right, Judge, Mr. Caleb's here.
Thank you. Are you Mr. Dickerson?
Yes.
Mr. Dick, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Sorry
Thank
about
you.
that, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Dickerson, my name is Judge Porter. The law says when you're brought into detention and initially detained, you must see a judge every 10 business days thereafter. This is your 10-day hearing. You have the right to remain silent. You also have the right to an attorney, and your attorney, Mr. Adeniji, is here. Judge Kim went over the levels in the back with you, didn't he?
Yeah.
What's your level?
Right.
What's your level? Mr. Dickerson, what's your level in the back?
Your Honor.
2. What's your level supposed to be?
A 1-0.
Uh-huh.
1-0 today.
But it's not, is it?
Your Honor, may I give you an update on the case?
Yes, ma'am.
At his 10-day detention hearing, it was around December the 30th. Judge Kim had ordered for Metro Care to find a placement for Caleb by 5 p.m. that day, and they weren't able to, and so I contacted CPS. Since I contacted CPS, CPS Metro Care have been working together, and they're going to place Caleb in a group home. He has IDD and autism, and so we're just waiting to hear back from the supervisor of the group home when they'll be able to accept Caleb.
All right.
Yes, sir. So he was supposed to, or should have probably been released sooner, but we were just trying to find an adequate placement for him.
All right. Then sounds like it is not appropriate to release him at this time. So I'm going to order that he be detained. Y'all can get those ducks in a row. Then we'll take it up. Yes, sir, Mr. Adeniji.
I'm not sure if the mom is here and if she has anything to tell the court.
Mom is here. It's the Caleb and Samaria.
Yes, I'm here.
Do you have anything to tell the court?
No.
Judge, the last time the judge was, I believe, inclined to release him, but the question is where to release him to. And the mom was hesitant because she wasn't sure if she says come home, there won't be problems. And that was the resolution that the CPS and the group of Metro, Dallas Metro should find a place. And a week after, we're still back to square one. And Caleb is getting frustrated. And I believe that's why we're having the problems in the back, because of his psych condition, not because of any other thing. So.
Nonetheless, do we have all our ducks in a row yet?
Unfortunately, no. I just want the mom to hear that it's not that the court just wants to keep him, and that the court does understand his circumstances, and there's just no choice here in terms of where he's going to be.
All right, Mr. Adeniji is correct. So that'll be the order of the court. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Judge.
Is Marco Chasoretta ready?
Yes, sir, he's coming.
Good morning, Marco. How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm okay. We've met before. My name's Judge Porter. The law says when you're brought into detention and initially detained, you must see a judge every 10 business days thereafter. This is your 10-day hearing. You have the right to remain silent. You also have the right to an attorney, and your attorney, Ms. Uzawihe, is here. Marco, I'm personally familiar with you. Let's see. If the court coordinator will remove the person designated KLABNSAMARIA at Gmail and just remove that person from this hearing. Their behavior is such that they're disruptive. Thank you. All right, Marco. I'm personally familiar with your history and the fact that you were placed on probation by this court. Your level in the back is level 2 acceptable, correct?
Yes, sir.
What do I have to do?
Detain me
Why?
because of my level.
Uh-huh. What does your level have to be before I can consider your release?
1-0.
All right. You know what you got to do, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. That'll be the order of the court. Thank you, Marco. Thank you, Ms. Uzawihe.
Thank you, Anna.
Martin Herrera. Good morning, Martin. How are you?
Good.
My name's Judge Porter, but you already knew that. We know each other. Law says when you're brought into detention and initially detained, you must see a judge every 10 business days thereafter. This is your 10-day hearing. You have the right to remain silent. You also have the right to an attorney. And is Ms. McGonigal here?
I am, Your Honor.
All right. Okay. So, Martin, you've been level 1-0 since the 9th of this month. However, you have a history of cutting off your EM. And also, I know your history of being a flight risk. And I'm afraid that if I were to release you today on the electronic monitor, you'd just cut it off and run again. Ms. McGonigal, any thoughts?
Well, Your Honor, I understand the court's concerns about Martin and his monitor prior bad deeds, but I would ask that he be allowed to go home. His behavior in detention this time has been significantly better than it has been in previous days. And you did order him to participate in some programs. Due to being in detention, he is not able to participate in those programs. So we have court next Friday. I'd ask that he be released in order to get the evaluation for FPP completed that was ordered back in November.
All right.
Judge
Thank you.
Porter, can I say something as well? He has court for River Oaks on the 21st, and he also has a very important art meeting with the school on the 19th that he has to be present and in order for us not to reschedule. And the reason why it's an important one is because it's an every 3-year annually one. So it's the one that just redoes his whole, it's like a big school. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's just an important art meeting that I really would like not want to reschedule just for the fact that I'm trying to get him to find out what we have to do to get him caught up for his credits and see what kind of, what the accommodations are going to have for him, etc. And then also he has his court on the 21st for River Oaks, which is for something that happened prior before all of these court hearings and whatnot. And then also my friend opened up her own store and I talked to her about having him work part-time to help keep him out of trouble or keep him busy. Martin, so strange. He gets upset when he's bored and can't be still. but she wants to talk to him to consider, you know, having him clean up the store and stock up shelves if Pete gets to come home.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Martin, your history, those are all good points made by your attorney and your mom, but your history tells me that if I were to release you, you'd cut off your monitor and you'd run away again. And I can't release you if I believe you're gonna not come back to court when you're supposed to. So I'm gonna order you continue to be detained. That's the order of the court. Thank you. All right, Ms. Page. Are you Ms. Page?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Page, my name is Judge Porter. The law says when you're brought into detention and initially detained, you must see a judge every 10 business days thereafter. This is your 10-day hearing. You have the right to remain silent. You also have the right to an attorney, and your attorney, Ms. Herrick, is here. Do you see her on the screen?
Hi, Kaylin. Hey.
All right. The court has previously found that probable cause exists to believe that you engaged in delinquent conduct sufficient to warrant your initial detention at this facility. However, since then, your behavior level is currently too acceptable. Is that
Your
correct?
Honor, I don't want to interrupt you, but we can
Yeah, but you
fast
do.
track
But
this.
you do.
She's already
really
been
do.
adjudicated and she's just waiting for placement. So I just am wondering if we have a date yet for when she'll be able to go.
We don't have a specific date.
Okay.
Lisa. It's just that with interstate compact, because she's going to another state, we're waiting for that process to go through.
I see.
I was told it would be probably 2 weeks from the adjudication date, which was
Okay.
the 7th.
Yeah.
So we're probably looking no sooner than the 21st.
Okay.
Thanks, Dana.
Ms. Page, what can we do to get from level 2 acceptable to level 1 outstanding?
They looking into that because it wasn't really my fault. So
Okay, but moving past that, what can we do going forward to get to that level 1 outstanding so that when you leave here as a level 1 outstanding, the absolute possible best?
I guess follow directions.
Okay, and be more specific. What in the past has caused you to lose 1 or more points for not following directions? What specifically?
I guess not putting my mattress on a slab.
Okay, so you can fix that problem, right?
Yes.
Okay, what are the other little steps you can do to get to level 1 outstanding? Because I want to make sure you're outstanding when you leave here, right?
Yes.
Are you willing to work toward that?
Yes.
All right, make it happen for me, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Ms. Herrick. All right, Jamiri and Jarrell Ransom.
Yes,
Is
sir.
Mr. Houston still here?
I'm here.
There we go. All right, Mr. Ransom, my name is Judge Porter. The law says when you're brought into detention and initially detained, you must see a judge every 10 business days thereafter. This is your 10-day hearing. You have the right to remain silent. You also have the right to an attorney, and your attorney, Mr. Houston, is here. Do you see him on the screen?
Sir.
Pardon?
Yes, sir.
All right. You're level 1 outstanding as of this morning. The court has previously found that probable cause exists to believe that you engaged in delinquent conduct sufficient to warrant your initial detention. More specifically, the court has received information that you may have been part of an armed robbery at a Metro PCS store, and a bunch of y'all worked together, allegedly. And then when you were caught, you gave a false name to the police officers and a false date of birth. Once they discovered your real identity, they learned you were a runaway out of Dallas and on probation out of Dallas. And one of your cohorts was allegedly in possession of a loaded Glock. Yes, Mr. Victorson.
I just wanted to make sure that you're aware that Child Protective Services is participating, as well as the probation officer from Dallas. Dallas has an active DTA for Mr. Jamarian in the event that you were to release him.
All right. Mr. Houston, what are your thoughts?
Well, my client's been in custody, I believe, for 71 days. He is level 1 outstanding. He has to be released and he can handle his doubt stuff.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Houston.
Your Honor, this is the PO from Dallas County. We are just asking to see if we can transfer disposition so we can just process the case over here.
Well, that'll be taken up at a different hearing, not at a detention hearing. You know that, right?
Yeah.
All right.
That's the plan anyway, Your Honor.
As for today of whether you should be detained or released, Mr. Ransom, you got a certificate. What does your certificate say?
I've been on level 3 times. Well, the only reason I get my level, I said level 3. I mean level 1.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, level 1. I mean, the only reason I lose.
But don't tell me why you fell off level 1, because that's bad stuff. You only talk about good stuff, because if you start talking about bad stuff, the DA is listening. They're going to take notes and they're going to use it against you in the future. But if you only talk about the good stuff you use, then I don't think your attorney will mind. But only talk about good stuff, or if you can ask me a question. All right? Don't talk about bad stuff.
All right, yes, sir, I got you.
All right. But you hold that certificate up to the camera for me. All right. It says, what does it say? Certificate of Achievement. All righty. What's the date on it?
Let's say, it say January 3rd through January 9th.
All right.
7 days, right?
Okay. All right. But this underlying offense is way too scary. Plus, you got a history of running away from Dallas County. At this time, I'm not inclined to release you, and I think you understand why. Keep up level 1 for me, because that puts your attorney in the best possible position to argue for the best possible outcome for you. Because if you fall to level 3, DA is going to bring a world of hurt on you, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. That's going to be the order of the court. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Wesley Smith. Morning, Miss Abels. How are you?
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning,
Good
Judge. How are
morning,
you?
Mr. Reyes. ¿Cómo está?
Bien, ¿y usted?
Así, así. Más o menos.
Bueno. Feliz año, by the way.
Gracias. All right. Are you Mr. Smith?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Smith, my name is Judge Porter. The law says when you're brought into detention and initially detained.
Okay, it's Felice Annual Happy New Year. I took 4 years of Spanish. Oh my God, 4 years. And I'm not good. I can't speak Spanish. That's yet another class I failed many times. Guys, if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe. We're gonna finish this video off. I just want to say that before any of you dip out. Also, if you're lurking, you're allowed to lurk, but don't worry. We don't bite that hard unless you want us to. Viking just ordered fajitas. Wow, that's good. I'm jealous now. And well, Amy, I hope you're feeling better. Gosh darn. Okay, let's finish up with Judge Porter here. Oh, these kids have crazy hair. I don't think they give them any hairbrushes in there at all. None.
You must see a judge every 10 business days thereafter. The court has previously found that probable cause exists to believe that you engaged in delinquent conduct sufficient to warrant your initial detention. This is your 10-day hearing. You got the right to remain silent. You also have the right to an attorney, and your attorney, Ms. Abels, is here. You see her?
Hey,
No,
Wesley.
yeah, I see her. Yeah, I see her.
Judge, his mom has been trying to get on since he started. Nobody's let her in.
Oh, well, how about that? Somebody gave me the authority to let people in. There we go. There's
There she is.
There they are.
There they are.
Okie, Miss Abels, talk
Yes,
to me.
sir. He's on level 3.
Anything else I need to consider?
Hey, I'm 3 outstanding, you know.
Yeah, he's 3 outstanding. Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a long talk the other night, and I do believe he went up from where he was when I talked to him Monday, but you know, I've told him if he doesn't care, you know, if we care more than he does, we can't do anything for him.
So, Mr. Smith, you
Oh,
and Judge
shut
Kim
up for a
talked
minute,
about
Judge
the
Port. I'm
levels,
still
right?
talking. Isn't Feliz Cumpleaños though? Happy birthday. I'm pretty sure I know that one is because I know how to sing happy birthday in Spanish. So like happy birthday. So happy Feliz Años. Is that what I said? I know años is year. So happy year, I guess. And this is why I put my daughter in French immersion so that she would learn another language without me having to teach her. And she did. Yay. Also, I want you guys to tell me in the chat right now if you want another one of these or if you're tired. 1 for more, 2 for no.
No, not really. He just detained me. He don't really say much.
Oh, okay. Well, have they talked to you what the different levels are in the back?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I know how the levels work. Yeah.
Okay. And what's the worst level? Level 1, level 2, or level 3?
3.
And what's the best level? Level 1, level 2, or level 3?
Level 1.
Okay. Judge Kim wants you to be at level 1. And within level 1, there are different grades. What's the best grade within level 1?
1-0.
Exactly, 1 outstanding. And that's what Judge Kim wants you to be at before we're supposed to consider you for release, okay? So I am certain, I wasn't there for the conversation, but I am certain Ms. Abels talked to you about your need to get to level 1 outstanding, okay? What can you do to make that possible?
I don't know, just like, you know, follow the rules, don't talk, all that, you know.
You gonna try and do that?
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying. I'm gonna be a level 2 tomorrow. Like, I'm working my way up, you know, but.
Okay. Have you had a chance to talk to your parents?
Yeah, I call them on the phone every couple of days.
Okay. Well, because you're level 3, I have to order that you continue to be detained. But what I want you to do, I want you to keep working on your levels and keep having those phone conversations with your parents, okay?
All right.
All right. Thank you, sir. That'll be the order of the court. I'm going to turn it back
Thank you,
over.
Your Honor. May I be dismissed?
Thank you, Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, sir.
I'm now going to turn it back over to Judge Kill.
All right, thank you, Judge Porter. So, Texas Family Code, Chapter 5408 says that court proceedings are presumed to be open to the public. Unless the child is under 14, then the court must make a finding that the interests of the public or the interests of the child are better served.
We keep rolling. We hate it. No, we're going on to the next one, guys. Let's see what we got. Sometimes it takes them a while to let everybody in.
Or laying down.
Oh, but I love his beginning one, so we go back.
Domestic.
Also, yeah, I did hear that or Trent Lofton is a judge now. And hi, everybody who's new here. Welcome. This is our 3rd one of the night because we go crazy.
This is the detention docket for the 323rd District Court on January 19, 2021. In compliance with the Texas Supreme Court Emergency Order number 33, we are conducting in-person proceedings. And we are not conducting in-person proceedings. Instead, we're using Zoom. To comply with the open courts provision of the Texas Constitution, we are broadcasting these proceedings on YouTube so the public may observe what goes on inside a public courtroom. The court does expect everyone to behave appropriately for court. It's still a court setting. So that means please not be in bed or laying down, use lavatory, have domesticated animals walk across the screen. People are expected to have their cameras on for this, unless you're an officer of the court. If, let's see. Josephina, no one wants to look at your finger. Josephina, please behave appropriately for court. Don't. Josephina, this is the third time. Please do not put your hand in front of the camera. Remove her. All right. And so, let's see. Broadcast, behave appropriately. Yeah, and please refrain from having bright lights from behind your head as it shadows out your face. All right, we're going to go ahead and start with Haider Al-Bakari.
Yes, sir.
All right, Haider. Good morning. I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. Purpose of this hearing is to decide whether to keep you in custody or to release you. If I keep you in custody, the law says you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You do have a right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. Your attorney is Mr. Gladstone. We have him pending the application.
You know where he at?
You know how to speak English? Where he at?
You know where my lawyer at, sir?
Where he at?
Where's my lawyer?
Mr. Gladstone, are you here? Okay, Mr. Gladstone's not here, so Mr. Adniji is going to step in. Where he at?
Excuse me, sir. Who my PO?
Your PO, this is about deciding whether to keep you here or release you.
Yes, sir.
So, Haider, you've been here before. Oh, geez. You're 16 years old. Or when you were 13 with a weed case, you got probation for controlled substance at school when you're at 14. Arrested for robbery. You had some problems on probation. We had to issue multiple warrants for you. You got probation again when you're 14 for criminal trespass. We gave you a drug test when you came in. You're positive for weed. Mr. Dotson, is he currently on supervision? No, he finished December of last year. All right, so you just finished your probation.
Yes, sir.
So, let's see. January 12th, police dispatch for a shots fired call. When they went there, victim, before they were leaving Damien's apartment, going to Corey's apartment, saw a red Malibu. Damien told police that Trayvon had been staying with him and his mother until yesterday. They got into argument. So, yeah, so they saw Trayvon's Malibu driving by. Trayvon was in the back seat. 2 Middle Eastern males in the front seat. And then victim said that he saw a suspect known as Iraq holding steering wheel with his left hand while aiming a pistol with his right hand. 2 victims were not hit. The 2 vehicles in the parking lot were hit. Bullet fragments were recovered.
Boy, them hoes lying,
Please had. Yeah, so Haider, this is a detention hearing. I'm just deciding whether to keep you here or not. All right, you have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. Okay. I advise you to use your right to remain silent. Police had a cell phone dump from Brianna Carrera.
What did you say?
Iraq came up associated with Haider Al-Bakari. They found the Malibu, located the vehicle, pulled it over. Haider was, Taurus hanger was found inside the vehicle. All right, so Hader, it looks like you were seen driving a car, shooting a pistol at other cars. And I don't know if you know me, but I have a hardline policy about kids with guns, especially when they use guns. Do we have a parent here?
Oh, yeah, he said he couldn't get off work. Talk to
All
Dad.
right, well, that's what happens. And so, Hader, I'm gonna go ahead and detain you. This will not feel like you're a danger to the community as well as yourself, all right? Thank you.
Can I say something, please?
I advise you not to. If you have a question, your question.
I just got a question, because I need to
You mind if I finish my sentence?
Yes, sir.
You do mind?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then I won't finish my sentence. You're detained. Thank you,
Oh,
sir.
no, you not. No, like,
Anthony Allen.
I'm confused. I said he could finish
Anthony
it.
Allen.
Can I talk to my lawyer, please?
Okay, I'm detaining you.
I'm Muslim. They don't understand me.
We got the next young man coming, sir.
Thank you. Leave, mister, I need you here.
I'm here, Judge.
Okay, thank you. All right, so Mr. Allen, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. I'm deciding whether to keep you or release you. If I keep you here, the law says you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. And Mr. Beaver is your attorney. I think I saw Mr. Beaver.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Mr. Beaver. All right, so Mr. Allen, you were here in April for evading arrest, and you got DPP. All right, so we brought you in, and you're positive for weed while you're on DPP. And so let's see. On Saturday, police were dispatched a stolen car call, and they talked to the victims. He's been in the store for 2 minutes. We noticed his vehicle driving from the parking lot. He had left the vehicle running with a key inside. So there's videos that black male dressed in blue hoodie, dark pants, white shoes, got in the car, got to the car, in the car, and drive away. So while he was filling out the theft affidavit, received a radio call, stolen vehicle had been found. Nearby police unit was canvassing, found the vehicle, followed it to a residential area. Vehicle sped up, turned on the lights, and the vehicle drove through an intersection, tried to make a turn, crashed out into a mailbox. Two black males exited the stolen vehicle, began running. Police identified themselves, chased on foot, but they kept on running. They got the passenger, returned to the crash site with him. Driver was located nearby by the helicopter, and the person matched the video as Anthony Allen. See the place where under arrest for theft of property, $2,500 to $30,000, evading arrest with a vehicle, evading arrest on foot. So, well, it looks like DPP was the wrong idea. All right, Mr. Allen, at this point, do we have a parent here for Mr. Allen?
Good morning. Your Honor, stepfather's here.
All right, you know, if this was just this is a lot simpler, I wouldn't be as worried, but the fact that he's going on a car chase and crashes out, you know, good thing no small kid was walking there on the mailbox right there where the car crashed in the mailbox. So at this point, I can detain your stepson, right? I need to make sure that we don't have deeper behavioral issues, that you can actually follow the rules and be respectful. How is he at home with you?
Terrible.
Okay.
Mom is not here for a reason, and he understands why mom is not here.
Okay, so he has an attitude with mom as well?
Yeah, we've been trying to work with Anthony. Honest God, truth, we've been trying to work with Anthony for the past few years. Me and Anthony haven't always had the very great relationship, but what I have been doing as a stepfather has been there for 13 years, basically raised him, was tried to stop a lot of this from getting to where it's at right now. We've been through a lot. I lost a lot. I lost everything behind Anthony. I lost my job at Miller Brewing behind Anthony. I was on probation where me and Anthony it got physical between me and Anthony because he was always out of control. And I tried to detain him, and fortunately the state stepped in and I got in trouble for putting my hands on him. And I learned my lesson from that. But everything that occurred that's been going on, I've been trying to stop. Now, one of the passengers was his 14-year-old little brother, Anterion Allen. Now, I found out everything that happened. I was on my way coming back from college, dropping my oldest son off from college from Kansas when I get the call that these two was in juvenile. Now, I was able to pick up Anterion, And I was told that his brother pulled up in a car and he told him to come outside at the house. And he said that was his friend's car. He told him it was his friend's car. So, and Terry, his little brother, asked if he can go to the store, if he'll take him to the store. His little brother, not knowing that this was a stolen vehicle or nothing. His brother is a good kid. He plays, you know, he's never been in no trouble. And we've been trying to stop this from getting this far. I had his money taken off the first time because I thought Anthony was going to do good to go to school and get him on a basketball team and try to.
Stepdad, forgive me for interrupting. All right. We're kind of going outside the scope of what this hearing's about. All right. But Anthony, I just say to you, it speaks volumes to me, the fact that your stepdad is here in the worst of times when nobody else is. And hopefully to you, that speaks something to your heart about how he feels, how your stepdad feels about you, right? The fact that he's here showing up for you, despite all the conflicts you've had with him in the past, he's still stepping up and he's actually taking the time to come here. A lot of parents, not even step parents, but biological parents, they don't even do that. So that's something to think about. But Anthony, this is a direct result of your decision. It has nothing to do with your stepdad, what he said. I'm just concerned about your decision making if I was to release in the community. So for right now, I'm going to keep you here. We'll see how you behave here. See behavior levels, if you can follow the rules, if you can be respectful to the authority, then that tells me that you deserve another chance to show me that you can follow the rules at home and be respectful to the authority at home. But really, I'm putting this on you now, okay? All right, thank you, Anthony.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Gerard Coleman.
So just before we go any further on this case, that is something we don't always see. This is a step parent who's coming in and really showing up and trying to make a difference for this kid. You know, we talk about it a lot. For anybody that's new here, these are detention hearings that we're watching, and these kids oftentimes have had a hard upbringing. Oftentimes their parents have had a hard upbringing. So we're not laying blame, but it's really nice to see that type of engagement from not even a biological parent, but a step parent coming in to the picture. It didn't do quite enough because Judge Kim still detained the kid, but it definitely helps a lot. Anyways, guys, how it works here is we vote in the chat if you think they're going to get detained or released as they sort of come out here. And I'm actually here. I'm in the Zoom call. I fit right in. Sometimes I like to go take the spot of the parents if they don't show up, but oftentimes I'm just sitting around right here. And there's lawyers on this screen, there are probation officers on the screen, and then there are parents and kids on the screen. So anyways, I will continue on. Also, I love Mr. Nava's poster, which is just above me right up here, because it says, I want to believe. And I always feel like it's like a halfway motivational poster. Like he went to some store and was like, I don't really want to motivate them. I just a little bit too. Also, John Taylor's got some interesting hair. Okay, let's keep playing.
All right, Mr. Coleman, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. I'm deciding whether to keep you or release you. If I keep you, you'll see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. Mr. Adniji is your attorney. Good morning, Mr. Adniji.
Morning, Judge.
All right, so Mr. Coleman, 15 years old. Let's go over your history. You came in when you were 10 for an intervention. Then you are 11 years old. You get arrested for burglary of habitation and criminal trespass. You get out 5 days later. You get arrested for stolen credit cards, which you got probation for. 5 days later, before you got probation, you get arrested for burglary of vehicle. You get out. The next day, you get arrested for terroristic threat. You get out. The next day, you get arrested for terroristic threat. At this point, you're placed on probation. And you're brought in on warrants for violating probation two times. You're still 12 years old. You get arrested for another theft of property. and stolen credit card. Well, 5 days later, stolen credit card, and a day later, burglary of habitation, which you got probation for. Then you had 2 more probation violations, then you're still 12 years old, get arrested for theft of property. 5 days you get out. 5 days later, arrested for theft from person. You get out 3 days later for another theft case. So you seem to be doing okay for a year. Because now you're 13, you're arrested for burglary of vehicle, you get out a month later, you get arrested for another burglary vehicle, which you got probation for. And then 2 months later, you get arrested for possession of controlled substance, which you got probation for, and went to placement. So now you're back in our community after placement. I'm gonna ask Mr. Crawl, did he successfully complete placement?
Your Honor, it shows completed, and the length of stay he was in there, it looks like it was a successful completion.
Okay.
That was from February to July.
Of what year?
2019.
2019, okay. So back in February of last year, you're brought in for stolen vehicle, which intake rejected. And so now on Saturday, I guess, police responded to a shooting. Witnessed a black male wearing a yellow shirt got into a fight at the club and started shooting into the crowd, hitting 2 people. Gerard Rand got into Ford Fusion with 3 other individuals. Police removed all the individuals from the vehicle, and he was the only one wearing a yellow shirt. No weapon was located. Do we have, Mr. Quall, do we have anything identifying, like how do we know Gerard was leaving the club?
Give me a second, I'm looking at this. Your Honor, it says that there were numerous eyewitnesses that witnessed the fight in the club, and that they were being pushed out of the establishment when he came back in firing.
So witnesses identified Gerard with a gun?
Yeah, I have on this first report 4 small paragraphs, and paragraph 3 state numerous eyewitnesses.
All right. So is he currently on probation?
Your Honor, he is not. He is pending an offense for failed to ID back from May.
Okay, so he's a pending offense now. He's identified shooting into a crowd. Well, Gerard, I think you know me from before. Mom, are you Mom?
Yes.
Okay, do you know where he gets a gun from?
No, I don't.
Okay, that's, Gerard,
I don't know how he got into a club.
you know me, I'm sorry?
I said, I don't even know how he got into a club at 15.
Right, yeah, that's disappointing as well. All right, Gerard, I think you know me from detention hearings before, but I take it very seriously when a child has a gun, and even more serious when a child uses a gun. And so eyewitnesses put you there, so I'm gonna go ahead and detain you, and we'll see if and when I let you out. I'm not even gonna consider letting you out unless you're a level 1 outstanding. All right, so that's what you need to get with at the very beginning, and then we need to decide from there. So do what you can while you're here. Thank you, Gerard.
Thank you, Judge.
Layla Elder.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. All right, Layla, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. I'm deciding whether to keep you here or release you. If I keep you here, the law says you'll see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to be silent. And you have a right to an attorney.
Layla, put your hand down and listen to the judge. He'll give you a chance to talk when the time comes.
So you're 15 years old.
Yes, sir.
And back in November, Alton City dispatched a theft call. Mom and your older sister said you had stolen her wedding ring and sister's purse and wallet. You told mom to go check the pawn shops. I remember this one. All right. So then November 23rd, Alton City responded to domestic. 2 days before, mom said you and her got into an argument. And she said you flipped her over, causing her to hit her head and lose consciousness. It was a CT scan and she had a concussion. So 2 days before Christmas, you came in for a 10-day hearing. Judge Porter released you on electronic monitor, sweat patch, and a hair follicle test. Hair follicle test was collected and deemed insufficient with an insufficient sample. So we have not got another hair follicle test. Sweat patch returned positive for benzodiazepines. You were not prescribed a medication that would test positive for Xanax. And so we have another sweat patch that's at the lab.
May I please say something?
Hold on a second.
Okay.
So I guess my question, Mr. Victorson, so she is in detention. Did we assign a DTA because of
We
it?
did, Your Honor. I wasn't as clear on that report as I should have been. Judge Porter issued a directive on the 13th after a progress report was submitted describing what had happened with the sweat patch. And this is the first detention hearing since the DTA was executed.
All right. Do we have a parent here?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So are you dad?
Yes, sir.
All right, Dad. Dad, does your daughter have a prescription for Xanax or benzodiazepines?
No. Well, I'm not sure if the other ones have benzo, but not for Xanax, no.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you.
Not for Xanax, no.
Okay. All right. So it looks like your daughter is getting drugs off the street. And so she's using drugs despite being on a sweat patch, instruction not to use illegal substances. If I remember correctly, you're the one that went ahead and asked me for the hair follicle test, right?
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, they took a sample. It turns out the sample wasn't enough for them to test. So they're gonna have to do another hair follicle sample so we can go back and see what other substances she's using. Sir, did you have a question for me?
I took
Layla, stop talking.
Sorry.
Dad, did you have another question for me?
Yes, sir, if you don't mind. It's my understanding that the original drug test was as she came out and that she's taken another one since. Whether or not we have the results of those, I guess not. But my question is, I don't see the one incident for the Xanax being an issue. She was great throughout the entirety of it. We were all caught off guard by the original drug test that came back. So I was hoping that we'd have the results that would vindicate her and maybe give her an opportunity to come home today. I just wanted to let that be known.
And so I understand, and I'm glad she's behaving well. And so my concern is kids are using street drugs, and that's a problem. Here's the thing. A lot of people think that you have all these quote unquote gateway drugs that go to bigger things like cocaine, heroin, things that we think of as street drugs. The problem isn't necessarily the drug itself. The problem is the criminal thinking, right? If Layla is taking Xanax or benzodiazepines and acquiring them on the street, that means she would have access to other harder drugs. And that would also mean that she feels like she can break the law without getting caught. Right? So while parents tend to be forgiving, that's what parents are supposed to do. The law isn't very forgiving. It's either you're following the rules or you're not following the rules. So this is one of those things where I'm a little bit more callous, I guess, than a parent would be. But the fact that she was behaving and things were going well, that gives me hope to think that she deserves another opportunity to go ahead and go home. Right? So the thing right now is I want to go ahead, now that she has the benzodiazepines, wait for the hair follicle test so we know that, and wait for the next drug patch and see what happens from there. And that tells us what the extent of her use is. Layla, I know your hand is raised, and so if you have a question for me, I don't mind answering.
Layla, stop.
Do you mind if I finish? Please allow me finish, okay?
Sir.
I don't mind you asking me a question, and I'm sure your attorney doesn't mind me answering a question, but if you want to tell me something, I'm pretty sure your attorney does not want you to tell me anything, okay? So if you have a question, Layla, please let me finish my sentence, all right? Please let me finish talking, and I'll give you a chance. A question means it starts with who, what, when, where, how, why. Okay, so if you have a question for me, Mr. Youngblood has always allowed his clients to ask me questions. So do you have a question or do you want to tell me something? Okay, McComber?
Do you know if my prescription would test me positive, sir?
I don't understand what she said.
Do you know if my prescription would test me positive?
What she said?
No, Your Honor, it wouldn't.
I have done,
She's been prescribed an SSRI, which is not a benzodiazepine.
I have done 3 UAs since I've been in here and I tested negative for everything, sir.
Right, so the benzodiazepines your body will process that and metabolize it in 72 hours. The sweat patch monitors you 24/7. So that means at some point between the UAs, you took Xanax or benzodiazepines, and that's why you tested positive. Your prescriptions will not test positive for Xanax.
I truly believe that this is just a misunderstanding because I wouldn't take Xanax to jeopardize myself to come back in here, sir.
Right. Now, it's entirely possible that you didn't do so willingly, but the science doesn't lie. Okay, you did take Xanax, so that's why you're here. All right. Okay. And you can't take any kind of street drugs or any medication that you're not prescribed.
I don't even have a phone, so I don't know how I would get it.
Okay. Now again, this is turning to conversation and not a question and answer. So, Layla, we're gonna wait. We're gonna see what happens. Mr. Victorson, when we submitted the other sample on the 11th, you said? The second sweat patch?
Yes, Your Honor. She's due a new patch in a couple of days. I'm expecting that second report to be back sometime this week.
Okay. So we should get that in the next couple of days, and then we'll find out if you've been using since. I am open to the idea of releasing you, Layla, but if you're positive.
Can somebody in the chat do me a solid? And just because if I do it, my computer will crash probably, but what could mimic benzo on a sweat patch test? Because I don't believe that she's totally innocent, but I do really doubt the sweat patches because first of all, they're not even admissible in courts. They're used in these courts and sort of situations, but I don't believe they're fully admissible. There are drugs that sometimes will pop up, and honestly, being around other people, they say it doesn't impact a sweat patch, but I mean, I don't know if they properly tested them with like real people that are around drug users, or if they did it like in a lab where they're like, oh, well, nothing really. Like, that's what I wonder sometimes. Because he was saying her behavior was good, although then again, she was saying she was on benzos. If you want to get your behavior good, that would be a helpful one. Anyways, I was just thinking that it's probably nothing, I'm sure maybe it was, but again, these are from 2021. They actually eventually stopped using sweat patches. They couldn't get them from a supplier, and then there was something going on. So they don't even use sweat patches anymore. Mayor's put something in here. Yeah, those are yeah, I mean, all of those medicines are benzos. So, but Zoloft are SSRIs, and she's on an SSRI, which is what he just said, and he dismissed it completely. I would be really interested to know what particular SSRI she's on, what the dosage is, and if there's any sort of thing like that. Because I know Xanax is, and they're assuming that she took Xanax because she tested positive for benzos. But what I'm saying is, what if she is on an SSRI that can trigger a false positive for that, and she's not taken any benzos at all? That's my only question. And again, maybe I'm wrong, but I always like to look at as deep as we can to see, because she's not giving us the usual lying kid thing. She's quite, and also I agree, if she is taking benzos, she needs the right treatment. She needs to be under the supervision of a doctor. You would think it'd be a part of the lab report, but there wasn't a lab report. This is a sweat patch. So what it is like a patch that they put on, like a nicotine patch, and then it's not a lab report that comes back saying, oh, this milligrams of whatever was in her system. It's just a presumed positive based on her sweating. So, and crying. Oh, listen, you are talking to somebody who has cried her way out of many situations. Believe me, when I've taken the dark triad test. Let me just say I don't talk about my results because people wouldn't talk about it or wouldn't like it. But I understand about manipulating. I'm good at but SSRI false positive. See, yeah, it can give it. So this is what I'm talking about. She's not actually maybe lying. And the problem is that the lawyers in this court really don't have the ability to go up against Judge Kim. He's not going to admit what they say. He's not going to listen. Um, I want kids that are using benzos or are using drugs to get help, and I want people to know about it. But I also think it's really important. I think the hair follicle is the way to go, or a nail bed test. Although, again, with those, how far back is it really? Her urine tests were clean, but again, she was in custody. So Judge Kim assumes that everything metabolizes out in her in over a certain number of days. I've said this before and I'll say it again. My THC level tests would probably be off the roof, even if I stopped smoking weed for like 6 months. Seriously, it would probably take a very, very long time to get them down. And that's just because how it metabolizes in the body. And so I feel for some of these kids when they get a positive THC test and they swear to God, I haven't since I left. Like, if they don't have a clean test when they first leave, I don't think it's fair to hold it against them. Like, you got to get them testing clean before you can hold them for a dirty. Anyways, I don't know. Haven't taken benzos, and I don't know. Well, not in a long time. I did take sleeping pills when I was pregnant, like 15 years ago. A friend could have absolutely given her something, and I'm not saying that she didn't take it. What I'm saying is the courts that use these very short presumptive tests for drugs, CPS courts, and this is the juvenile courts. I feel like they have a responsibility to use them, but use them with care. So I would really like a lab report. Like, yeah, okay, if you've got a positive test for a sweat patch, like saying that you were positive for this, then they should do a blood test and confirm those findings. It would cost less than bringing her in for this hearing and all the people that are on the screen here. So, yeah, I really think might be one of those, and you know what, I've been wrong before. I can be wrong again, but I think that she might just be on the straight and narrow and her dad too. He's like, I don't know. I'm just getting a different vibe than I normally do with them. Anyways, let's continue. Oh, the thing about follicle tests, though, is that for people with African American heritage and their hair grows in very differently, this time that it lasts can be way longer, but yet they could be, faulted for that. So again, there's a really big problem there with the knowledge surrounding how everybody individually reacts to those tests and what the results show. So, I'm not against drug testing necessarily. Well, I say that. Don't drug test my kid, or me, but yeah, I think that it's just something that they need to be careful of. And they don't use the sweat patches anymore for that. Okay. Also, Denisha, I hope the baby's doing well. I know he doesn't want to sleep. Maybe it's because we're watching court. Miss Rachel, I hear, is very good for babies.
using street drugs, then that's just,
I don't have a way to get them, sir. I'm telling the truth.
Sir, look, ma'am, I don't know that. You would, even though you shouldn't, you would be surprised at the number of kids that tell me there's no way I could get a gun, and they end up getting a gun. Okay, so Layla, we're going to detain you for now, and then we'll see what the result of this patch is, and that would give me an idea whether to release you. Mr. Fiction, there were no errors, no issues with electronic monitor, though, was there?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Layla.
Love you, Layla.
Jeremy Hauser. Dad, can you ask them to be quiet or leave the building? All right, Mr. Hauser, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. I'm deciding, oh no, you've been here for 10 days, so I'm reviewing your case, deciding whether to keep you or release you. If I keep you here, you'll see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. Mr. Daniels is your attorney. I don't think, Mr. Dan, there we are. Mr. Daniels.
I am here. Yes.
Your beard is growing in nicely.
Thank you.
I'm kind of jealous of that. All right. All right. So, Jeremy, this is your third 10-day hearing. And let's see, December 1st, you ran away from the foster. RPO convinced you to return to the foster so you get a new placement. We got another call from OCAK saying that you ran away again and missed out on the placement opportunity. So you returned a couple hours later. PO spoke with you again, said that any more incidents, then they'll have to give me a progress report. And OCOK said they would transfer you to an emergency shelter with CPS workers. December 1st, about 9:40, we got a call saying you ran away again. So December 3rd, they filed a violation of your probation, and we did a placement search. Currently, you're level 1 outstanding. You got an argument on January 13th, and you continue to use profanity. So you drop down to level 1 acceptable. All right, so I see a lot of people from OCOK and the department here. Are y'all here for Jeremy?
I am not.
Okay, all right, Mr. Taylor. All right. So what's y'all's plan?
I am not here on behalf of Jeremy. I'm here on behalf of another child.
Oh, okay. Is anybody here from OCOK for Jeremy?
I am not, Your Honor.
No, sir.
So, Mr. Miller, did we notify the caseworker about Jeremy's detention hearing today?
Yes, Your Honor. They're normally here, him and his mother. I'm not sure if they didn't come because the placement search was ordered. They
Okay.
didn't feel like he's going to be released.
Okay. You know, OCOK needs to show up when it's their child. And so, tell you what. So mom lives local, Mr. Miller?
She does.
Well, at this point, if OCOK doesn't come and pick up the child by 3 o'clock today, call mom and say, pick up the child. I mean, if they're not going to show up for these detention hearings, then they can take responsibility for it. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Jacob Jimenez.
Sir.
Mr. Jimenez, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. I'm deciding whether to keep you here or release you. If I keep you here, law says you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. Mr. Sierra is your attorney. Is Mr. Sierra here?
Just a quick note there about that last case making sense. OCOK is a agency that is contracted by the state of Texas to give CPS like services. I believe it stands for Our Children, Our Kids, something like that. Originally, I thought it was like Oklahoma, something to do with Oklahoma. But then I looked it up. Yeah, Our Community, Our Kids. There we go. So they are a private company that provides CPS like case management services for different districts or counties in Texas. Not all of them use OCOK. I'm going to be frank. I've watched many, many CPS cases over the years. I don't particularly think OCOK is great at what they do. Open invitation, come to my kitchen or my living room, wherever you want to come and talk to him and tell me I'm wrong. But like, you just didn't show up for this kid at all, who is your temporary managing conservatorship. And if a parent did that, you would be all over that. But yet you don't have to be there. It's out of control. The double standard that's set and the fail that these kids feel. That parent may not be at this hearing because she may be under an investigation and have been told you're not allowed to come. And that is why, sorry, Denisha, that is why Judge Kim said, if OCOK doesn't come tomorrow, you just call her mom. Because funny enough, they don't show up for the kid, but God forbid you're going to give that kid back to the mom, they'll show up. They'll be there. They'll have somebody remove that kid again. So Judge Kim, while he has his pros and cons and his approaches to things are unique in some cases, he's definitely not a CPS handholder or an OCOK handholder. He does not. He requires a lot from them, more than most judges. So I just wanted to step in and say that it's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking when that happens with a kid. And that's why you heard me earlier say, oh, this stepdad showing up is great. Like, these people are paid to do this. This is their job. This isn't even like, again, and they're overworked and they're underpaid. So you got to get more people. Like, I'm sorry, but anyways, I know I'm like yelling. I'm sorry, the baby's trying to sleep. Not my baby. I don't have a baby, but Denisha's got one at her house.
Okay. All right. Mr. Adniji, I'm going to ask you to step in. So, Jacob, you are 16 years old. You are... So, Ms. Blair, he's not on supervision, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Arlington PD pulled you over on the 15th for speeding. They could smell weed from the vehicle. Everyone got out, found several small baggies in your jacket pocket. In front of where you're sitting, you're in the back seat. They found 15 prazolam pills, the vial marked as THC. There's several unopened small baggies for sale and a scale. They asked if you had anything else on your person. You said no, so you were transported here when being searched. Found weed in your pocket, so now you're arrested for felony possession of a controlled substance in a detention facility. So things actually got a lot worse. We have a parent here.
Your Honor, the dad was on the way, but his tire blew out. And I did give him the link, and he was going to try to zoom in, but I don't see him on here.
Okay. So none of the other people in the car got arrested, Ms. Blair? The police put all the drugs on him?
One of them was a 17-year-old, which was transported to the adult jail. And then the other two, one was released from detention intake, and then another one was did a field release to the parents.
So basically, if he owned up to the drugs in his pocket, he'd probably be home by now. All right, well, Jacob, Here's the thing, I don't have a parent to release you to, so I'm gonna go and detain you here. We'll revisit this at the 10-day hearing, decide whether you should be released or kept here, all right? Thank you, Jacob.
Thanks, Judge.
All right, Alexis Martinez. Oh, I'm sorry, Alexis Miranda. All right, Alexis, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. I'm deciding whether to keep you or release you. If I keep you, you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to be silent. You have a right to an attorney. So, let's see, on the 18th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, police were dispatched for domestic. Dad said that he and you got into argument the day before, and he let you spend the night with a friend. Next day, when he and your mom went to pick you up, you and your father began to argue, and you refused to get in the car. So you tried to leave, Dad tried to stop you, and while you're trying to get past your dad, you hit him in the face. When the police got there, you tried to leave again. The police had to detain you, so you brought over here. You have a parent here?
Yes, Your Honor. I have two parents here. Dad speaks only Spanish, but mom can understand and speak English.
Okay, so I'll talk to Mom. All right, Mom, I have some questions for you. So tell me about Alexis. Is his attitude this bad all the time, or is this something recent?
Since 1.5 years.
Okay, what happened about 1.5 years ago?
When he started in high school, the first week, he started with trouble. They catch him with marijuana in the school. He gets suspended. He went to DIP. He never passed DIP. He tried to kill twice his life. He drank some Xanax. He cut himself. He went to Springwood, a mental hospital. We found a psychiatrist. We found some consuls that give him therapy. They kicked him from the school and he went to Excel. He ran away from Excel. They don't want it anymore, so I need some option. I went to the high school again and they told me about this in my Dream Academy. And they told me that we should enroll him there so he don't keep on failing on the classes. So we did that. And then come the pandemic. And after that, everything was okay, but it was not so good. And he asked some permission. His behavior was not so good. And what happened this last week was on Saturday. I was on a graduation. He called me. He asked his father he can go with some friends, that the parents gonna come to pick him up. That was a lie because we have cameras at the house.
Mom, I'm gonna interrupt you, okay? I'm sorry for interrupting. Couple questions. You said, which hospital do you go to? Did you say?
Springwood.
Springwood, okay. And has he ever been prescribed medication?
Yes.
What has he been prescribed?
Oh, for a depression. I don't remember the name.
Okay. So what has he been diagnosed with? You said depression. Anything else?
No, just that.
Just depression. Okay. And so did you bring the medication with you?
No, he's not drinking anymore. He don't want to drink it maybe 6 months ago. He don't want to drink it.
Okay. Do you remember what it was called?
No.
Okay. So, Mom, this is what I'm going to do at this point. I'm going to refer him a consult with our psychiatrist, all right? And so we'll be able to assess things and decide how we can help him. It seems like there's deeper issues going on, right?
But the other thing that he's using marijuana now.
Yes, and that's part of the problem. Alexis, what you have to understand, so Mom, I can tell one thing. Look at his body language right now, the way he's sitting, slouching. He doesn't care what we have to say. But
I know.
I'm gonna try and do it anyways. Alexis, to let you know, here's the problem is when there are mental health issues, if you're smoking marijuana or THC, that is also a drug. And so that affects the way certain prescription drugs affect you. It also affects the way your brain functions. And so certain people just are not able to safely consume controlled substances or marijuana, okay? And so that's why for you, you're just one of those people. It's just, you just can't do it. You may like it. Other people may be able to do it. You just can't do it just because you have the other health issues. Okay. So I can let you know, as long as you're under my supervision, if you're smoking weed, you'll be coming in and out of Kimbo all the way to your 19th birthday. Okay. So just,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
giving you a heads up right now. So I'm gonna send a referral. Doctor comes, I believe, on Thursdays, and so you'll be able to see our psychiatrist. And then if you need a prescription, he'll prescribe one for you. If you don't, then he won't. But I want to watch your behavior levels. If you can get to level 1.0 without taking medication, be respectful, follow the rules, do what you're supposed to do, then you get to go home. But if you're not going to follow the rules and you do it your way, you're just going to stay here. Okay? Now, if the doctor gives you a prescription, you have to take the medication to get to the level 1 outstanding. If you don't take the meds as prescribed, your behavior level will not be 1 outstanding and you will not go home. Okay? All right. Thank you, Alexis. Thank you, Mom and Dad.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Emily Molina.
So,
Hi.
Hi, Emily. I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. I'm deciding whether to keep you here or to release you. If I keep you here, then you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. Mr. Beaver is your attorney. Do we have a parent here for Emily?
I am the OCOK caseworker for Emily Molina, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, so Emily, you've never been here before. You're 16 years old. You just turned 16. Okay. So Hearst brought you in. They're saying on the 17th, you and your companion were found by loss prevention at Dillard's, taking clothing and then going to the restroom, carrying a shopping bag. When you came out, they noticed the bag was a lot bigger. And your friend was wearing different clothes. Both tried to leave the store, detained by loss prevention. And the police questioned you, gave false names and date of births. And eventually told the police you'd run away from foster family in Harris County. So back in March, Arlington PD referred you for assault case over at junior high. The SRO was contacted to a fight. Victim said that you came up behind her, grabbed her hair and started punching her in the face, knocked her on the floor and continued to hit her. Your surveillance, and it showed you approaching behind and started hitting her in the head as she fell to the floor. All right, so I guess the question for OCOK is, what's the current, does the department have permanent managing, or is it temporary, or what's going on there?
Yes, Your Honor. We currently have permanent management conservatorship of Emily Molina.
Okay, so how long was she a runaway for?
This incident for about a week. It'll be a week this Thursday. She ran on the 14th, January 14th. And from last year, she's had 4 runaway incidents.
Okay, do we know how she got to Tarrant County?
We do not.
No. I probably, like you, Ms. Demas, have a big problem with 16-year-old girls running up 35, ending up in Tarrant County. So
yes, Your Honor.
So what county, so was parental rights terminated, or is it just PMC?
Yes, Your Honor. Parental rights are terminated.
Okay, what county did that happen from?
Hood County.
Hood County. All right, so technically her case is still, Hood County has ongoing continuous jurisdiction?
Yes, Your Honor.
So then let me ask you this. She has that assault case from 2020 in Arlington. How did that happen? Was she placed here in Tarrant?
Yes, she was. She was placed there in a foster family home, and then she ran, and that's the reason why she was never present for that fingerprinting. And
so, Ms. Demas, are you in Hood County or Harris?
I am a Johnson County caseworker. I took over this case. It was transferred over from Hood County to me on October 2020.
So are they transferring the case to Hood County, to Judge Walton?
They transferred the case from Hood County to Johnson County. So it is still in the Hood County court. It's just a different caseworker in a different county.
Okay. All right. Okay, so then I'm gonna put this on OT, okay. All right, figure out what y'all wanna do. If do you want to take possession? Do you have a placement for her right now?
We do. Brave Hearts Children's Center will take her back indefinitely.
But I'm guessing it's not a secure facility if she ran away.
That's correct, sir.
So Emily, I mean, I'm at this point now where you can get out of here today. I can release you, but your decision has to be, would you rather be akimbo or would you rather be a placement in Harris County? Do you have a choice on this one, Emily?
No,
You don't know?
I would rather be at Braveheart.
Okay. But you understand if you run away, you end up here, right? And so let me just give you an example. Let's say I let you go back to Braveheart, and then you decide to break the rules or run away or get in a fight there or cause any kind of problems. Then Tarrant County Juvenile Probation lets me know. I sign a warrant. Then Harris County or wherever you are, they'll pick you up. You'll sit in their juvenile detention facility for maybe a week or two until we can come and pick you up. Then you come here and you sit here maybe over the weekend or a couple days, and then you see me, and then it's harder for me to release you next time. You understand where I'm going with this? You understand that you and I aren't done. Like, we still have business with each other. So I can let you go, but I would only let you go if you're asking me to give you a chance and telling me that wherever you get placed, you're not going to break the rules because you don't want to see me again. Is that fair enough?
Yes, sir.
Is that something you can do?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Emily, I cannot imagine what's happened in your life so far. Okay? I'm not pretending that I understand. I'm not pretending that I really know what's going through in your life and your demons and your struggles, okay? I'm not going to insult you like that. What I am saying is the law says there are certain rules and we have to follow the rules. Whether we like them or not, whether we agree with them or not, that's the law. Those are the rules, okay? So if you're telling me, even though you disagree with the rules, even though you don't like it, that you can still follow the rules, I will let you go back to placement. But that's because you're telling me that you can follow the rules. And that's telling me that you can follow the rules that you don't agree with, that don't make sense. Okay? Is that something you're telling me you can do?
Yes, sir.
All right. But you understand, if I find out that you're breaking the rules, then we'll have to transfer you back to Tarrant County. You get that, right?
Yes, sir.
Like, this doesn't go away just because I'm releasing you. This is still here. And because I can bring you back, that is your reason why you're going to follow the rules down at Braveheart, right?
Yes, sir.
Do I have to worry about you running away again?
No, sir.
Emily, just between you and me, there are many girls I've held in detention just because they run away. Okay? I don't want you to get swept up and caught up and get involved with people that shouldn't be, right? That would take advantage of you. I don't want you to end up found in a ditch in the mountains of New Mexico because you decide to run away and do it on your own way. Okay? I have a duty to protect you. The law says I do. And if the only way to keep you from running away is to keep you akimbo, I will do that. And there have been many girls that I've done that to. You can call me sexist because I don't do this to the boys, but to the girls, I do, okay? That's my promise to you. You have to understand I'm serious about this. If you run away, I will hold you here akimbo until I am confident that you're not going to run away again. If you don't like it at Braveheart, you need to talk to your caseworker and ask for a different placement. That's the right way to do it. You can't walk out on your own. Walking out on your own will end up with you akimbo for quite a long time, okay? Now, Ms. Demas, I am sure she has no problem finding another placement for you if Braveheart's not working out. That's her job. They can find other places across the state, whether it's fosters or placements, secure, not secure. She can do that for you. There's a right way to get to a different place, and there's a wrong way. The wrong way is to walk out the door, okay? Are you going to burn me on this one? Are you going to make me regret this decision?
No, sir.
Okay, so this is the first time we met. I'm kind of giving you the benefit of the doubt. I'm trusting you on this one, okay? But you understand the next time, if you burn me, the next time I'm not going to trust you because you used your chance, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Ms. Demas, whenever you can arrange transport to go ahead and take her back, y'all are welcome to pick her up whenever you can, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there a time limit?
How long do you need?
I can go right now in 30 minutes.
Well, I know you can, but how long do you need?
My supervisor is here as well. Ms. Courtney Kihos, can you please speak on that?
On her behalf?
Oh, I got called out. Really, as long as we can pick her up by the close of business, and we can certainly arrange that. That would be more than enough time for us.
So how about close of business tomorrow?
That would be wonderful.
That's more than enough time. I want to set a time, but I want to be fair to you. So is close of business tomorrow more than enough time?
Absolutely.
So if I get angry at 5:01 tomorrow, that's not my fault, right? That's on y'all?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So Emily, I'm giving them, I want to give them a fair amount of time. They didn't expect to be doing this morning. So by the close of business tomorrow, I have their word they will come and pick you up to transport you. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ethan Nordike.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Nordike, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. You've been here for 10 days. I'm reviewing your case, deciding whether to keep you or release you. If I keep you, you'll see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. Your attorney is Mr. Adler. Good morning, Mr. Adler.
Good morning, Judge.
Okay. So, you're with Emily. No, I'm looking at Emily's. There we go. Nordike, this is the North Hills aggravated robbery in December. So we can say he was walking, approached by an unidentified suspect, tried a handgun, demanded the wallet, threw the wallet and cell phone. Back in November, student who was a victim said he drove to a location to sell weed. And the person he was selling to robbed him at gunpoint. So Ethan, I'm just, kids with guns, you understand that's my thing. You're on probation for robbery already. I'm glad you're level and outstanding. You have been since Christmas Eve, but you're on probation, smoking weed, and picked up for new gun offenses. So I'm very concerned about the safety of you and the community. You have a psychological evaluation scheduled for the 25th. All right, Ethan, I'm too concerned about releasing you to the community. Okay, I hope you understand based on your pattern of behavior. Do we have a parent here?
Your Honor, she was on earlier. That was Josephina that you kicked off. She couldn't get her sound to come on and
Okay.
figure out how to get back on.
Okay. So we have a court hearing coming up. Ethan, I'm glad you're level and outstanding. That's certainly something that's important for your attorney. That's you being able to help your attorney make a better case for you. Okay, so please keep that up. Thank you.
May I ask you a question, Judge Kim?
Yes, sir.
Last time on my last detention hearing, you said if I came on one of you, I would have a good argument. But you said you're concerned about my safety. My grandma has cameras inside and outside the house. And if I was on the EM and on my court, that should be no big problem, right?
Well,
I showed that I can behave in detention.
So what I said was that being level 1-0 starts the conversation, right, about releasing or not. But you have to understand that if this was just like a shoplifting case, level 1-0, I'm like, good, go. If this is a family violence case, most of the time, I'm like, go home. The fact that there's a gun used in a crime, right, that really keeps me slowing down. I mean, you're looking at not almost 3 weeks of level 1-0. I personally have to be very cautious whenever kids are caught with guns. Right? So it's not, I don't treat it like any other case. I take kids with guns as serious as they come. In fact, a lot of times I'll take kids using guns in robberies or shootings more serious than a homicide with like a knife. Okay. And even though the results are different, just children with guns is a really, really big deal for me. So I go very slow. I'm very cautious because I have to be comfortable because it's my job to make sure the community is safe. And when children are using guns, the community is not safe. Okay. So keep up the level 1-0. It's not, since I got here, I've never made a promise. Sometimes I make promises with the kids, like failed to ID. Get to level 1-0, you go home. And I'll make the deal with them up front. I never make a deal when it comes to a kid using a gun. It's a case-by-case basis. You review it every 10-day detention hearing, and then make that careful decision. Okay? But I don't make a problem. I don't make a deal ahead of time when it comes to kids with guns. Okay? Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Nordike. Roy Pruitt.
Sir.
Do we have Mr. Pruitt here?
Yes, sir. He's on the screen.
Okay. All right, Mr. Pruitt. I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. I'm deciding whether to keep you or release you. If I keep you, you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. Mr. Mooney is your attorney. Mr. Mooney, I don't think I've seen him yet. Mr. Adniji, I'm going to ask you to fill in for, I'm just going to say Vinisha. I don't even know what your last name is. Your camera needs to be on if you're going to be in this detention hearing. Otherwise, I'll remove you. All right. Roy, I see your hand raised. All right, so Roy, your attorney is, yeah, so Mr. Aniji, I think I'm going to ask you to cover for Mr. Mooney. Roy, did you have a question for me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's a question, right? You don't want to tell me anything, but you have a question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what's your question?
Am I allowed to go home?
Well, so that's a good question. That's what I'm trying to decide is whether it's appropriate to let you go home or not. All right, Venetia, either you turn your camera on or you need to leave Zoom. It's not a place to observe. If you want to observe, you can use YouTube.
That's not my child on my caseload.
I'm not saying it is. I'm saying that if you want to watch, you can watch from YouTube. If you're going to be part of this Zoom hearing, your camera needs to be on. Okay? Thank you. All right, so Roy, that's what the decision I'm making is whether I want to release you or to keep you here. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So I am allowed to release you, but I need to make sure that you will show up at court,
Thank you.
that you're not a danger to yourself or a danger to others.
Yes, sir, I will. I promise.
All right, well, let's see. Let me see why you're here. So I guess on Saturday or Friday, you were referred by Arlington. They're at Perimeter Behavioral Hospital. The complainant said that you and another patient escaped and in the process broke a magnetic lock on the door. They said that you kicked the door, breaking the lock. You and another patient were located, returned to the hospital. You had escaped last week, and they wanted to press charges for the damaged door and lock. Contractor said it's about $5,000 to fix the door. So in December, you were referred here for an assault. They're dispatched. They talked to the victim, which said you struck him in the head with a rock and made a large bump and was bleeding. He said he stepped between Roy and another adult in order to stop you from assaulting the adult. You hit him in the back of the head 3 times with a rock. And so detention staff released you. Well, so is Mr. Nava here?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. How in the world does detention release a kid who hit somebody in the back of the head with a rock 3 times?
I would say that's a good question, but if he's eligible for release, it was his first referral, and depending on what he scores on a certain assessment, he's eligible for release.
No, they're not my rules.
And he was released to Mr. John Taylor, who's on the screen from TOK.
All right, so Mr. Taylor, you're saying that Campworth will take him, but he must be mentally stable before acceptance. So is he on any kind of medication, Mr. Taylor?
Yes, he's on 3 psychotropic medications, which I'm not sure if he's been on those while he's been at the center or not. I did ask.
When you say the center, you mean the behavioral center or here?
The jail or the detention center.
Detention center, okay.
When he was arrested, I did ask the arresting officer to make sure those medications went with Roy to the detention center. However, I'm not sure if he's been able to take those or not. I have not been able to get confirmation from any of the staff.
Roy, are you taking your medication here?
Sir, I just asked them this morning about my medication. They said that the officer that arrested me, he said that the perimeter, their medication are in a machine. So they can't just give them to the officer. So they said, why I have been here, your question is going to be answered. Why I have been here, I have not been taking my medication.
Okay.
I
All right, so Mr. Taylor, can you get the medication and bring it here, please?
Yes, I will work on that today.
Okay, yeah, because we want to get the medication compliant and then, but we have to have the medication to do so. So you think you can do it by the end of the day? Is that
Yes.
fair enough? All right, because he's already gone a couple days without it. So I want to try and get him back on track with his meds as soon as possible.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Where's his case out of?
His case is out of Johnson County.
Johnson, so that's why Courtney's still here.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. All right, so Roy,
Sir.
did you have a problem taking your medication?
No, sir.
Okay, all right, so let's get you back on the meds. Let's get you stable and then we can go. I don't want to keep you here for this, okay? But you understand, I've got to make sure that you're able to take your meds. You're telling me that you have, I believe you, but you got to prove it. And that's just part of the process. Roy, you look a little disappointed, but kind of what happens when you walk out of a facility, right? You knew something was happening.
Sir.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to go home.
Well, so you're not going to go back to perimeter, right?
I want to go to Calworth. I feel safe at Calworth. I really want to go home. I'm fine. I'm on level 1 at the highest level. I've been doing good, sir.
Well, Roy, so this is what's interesting. If you're level 1 and you're doing that without your medication, okay, that says a lot to me. The problem is right now there's a doctor that prescribed this and they're saying that it's medically necessary for you to take your medication.
Okay, can I go home, sir, and take my medication? I promise I want nothing.
So Roy, I'm not the judge on your CPS case, so I can't make that decision on where you go. That's not, I don't have the authority to do that. There's another judge that does, and so I have to defer to him. Right now, all I'm dealing with is a juvenile case involving perimeter, okay?
Yes.
So even if I wanted to decide, and I kind of like you at this point, even if I wanted you to go home, I do not have the legal authority to say you go home. I can only decide whether you get released from here or you stay here. Yes, sir? Roy?
Sir, I'm scared. I want to go home.
I don't, the law doesn't let me make that decision. I'm sorry.
I'll go to court. I'll take my probation. I'll do community service just to pay that rule. I'll pay $5,000, $5,000. I promise I'll pay it.
But Roy, do you understand that the law does not let me make that decision?
Yes.
Like I cannot make that decision. Like I do not have the authority to say where you go.
Yes, sir.
My authority is whether you stay here or I release you to OCOK. That's the only decision I'm allowed to make at this time. Okay? Yes, sir.
Can you please release me to OCOK? I'm fine.
Well, the thing is I have to make sure you have your medication.
I'm gonna have my medication at my RTC. They're gonna get it for me.
Right, but I have to make sure. So Lake Worth does not want you until you're compliant on your medication. And that's the next placement that they have for you. So I'm willing to give OCOK a little bit of wiggle room on this one, but not a whole lot. Okay? And there are many OCOK people in Tarrant County that will tell you that I'm tough on them, but I'm fair on them. So I'll give them time, a reasonable amount of time, but I'm not going to let them leave you here. Our juvenile detention facility is not a placement. And that's a fight I have with OCOK all the time. I do not treat this like a placement. It's not a placement, but it's a temporary detention facility. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So just, I have no doubt you'll be fine on your meds. Just take your meds. Mr. Taylor, how long does Lake Worth need him to be medication compliant before they'll accept him?
They just need him to be mentally stable. His meds were just changed Wednesday of last week. So he started different medications Wednesday last week. And so we need to make sure that those are going to work before he.
So Mr. Nava, I see on this report that he's level 2 outstanding. Is that currently, or did he get adjusted up?
No, that's accurate. He's level 2 outstanding.
So in theory, he should be 1 outstanding tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, Mr. Taylor, I'm gonna let you know that our behavior level system, if he's level 1 outstanding, that's as good as you can get. I mean, behaviorally, that means he's compliant. He's compliant with all the rules. in a timely fashion. He doesn't have outbursts. He's not excessively talking back or using profanities. He's not aggressive. He's not getting in conflicts. He's not associating with peers that he's not supposed to. I don't like level 1.0 means you're behaving, right? And so I'm not sure what more y'all can ask. If it's not a medication compliant, but behaviorally compliant, that means tomorrow morning he could be deemed behaviorally compliant.
Okay. Would he be able to, if I can get the medications to you today, he can stay on those medications for 2 days and be compliant with taking that and still maintain that behavioral compliance?
Sure.
And then I can ensure Camp Worth can take him.
Okay.
Or find another placement.
So when you say 2 days, if you got the medication today, would today be day 1?
That would be tomorrow being day 1, starting that medication.
Okay. All right, so Roy, what is saying? Mr. Taylor's gonna get the medication today. If you take your medication and you're level 1 on Thursday, then you get out of here.
Please let me go home today, please.
Well, remember, Roy, I cannot let you go home. I do not have that authority.
I've been doing fine, sir.
I want you to understand, I cannot, like, I do not have that power to let you go home. Okay?
Sir.
Even if I wanted to, I do not have that power.
Sir, can I talk to my caseworker really quick?
Not through here. This is a detention hearing. We still have about 10 other kids to get through. Okay?
Yes, sir.
They can call our facility. You can talk to your caseworker.
Can they do that?
Yes. Mr. Taylor, do you mind calling?
Yes, I will call today.
So Roy, just make sure you understand, on Thursday, level 1.0, and you get out of here. Okay? All right. Thank you, Roy.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Darren Smith. All right, Venetia, I don't know what's happening, but you keep on turning off your camera and going to your profile picture. And this is the last time I'm telling you. The next time it happens, I will remove you from Zoom.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Excuse me. She's a CPS worker for my child. She's texted me and said she's having connection issues.
Okay, so she's a CPS worker?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you can just remind CPS to go ahead and put that in their profile name that they're CPS.
Yes, sir, I
that
did.
way I know they're not a parent.
Okay.
All right, so Mr. Smith, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. Do we have Mr. Smith here? There we go.
There is, sir.
When a kid's brought in, you have to see a judge within 2 days. I have to decide whether to keep you or release you. If I keep you, you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. Your attorney is Ms. Taylor.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Taylor. All right, Darren, you've never been here before. What's going on? It's Saturday, 4 o'clock. There's an auto theft call. Victim said she knows her vehicle had been moved and stopped in the middle of the street in front of her neighbor's house. Neighbor said that he saw a black male, later identified as Darren, exit the vehicle after it slowly rolled to a stop. He asked Darren, "Is your car okay?" And he said, "F this car," and ran from the location. So police detained you. Victim thinks that you were able to use a push start, but once you got a range, it stopped running. So mom is in Tarrant County Jail, so there's no guardian to release you to.
My aunt and I have my grandfather.
Grandfather here?
Not here, but he's in.
He's not here. I can't release you to him. All right, Darren. This is just decisions have consequences.
That's what
but, I'm sorry.
I said I ain't never stayed with my mother since I was 4.
Okay. Well, I still don't have anybody to release you to at this point. Okay. So even if it was grandpa or anybody else,
staying with them.
Sorry.
Darren.
No, please repeat yourself. Mr. Smith, please repeat yourself.
Oh, I said that's who I've been staying with since I was 4.
Yeah.
That's really my legal guardian.
Okay, so if they can, we can identify who they are. I can figure out what's going on, figure out what you're doing in that neighborhood at that time of day.
That's where I stay at, 4173 Takata Street.
Okay, so and figure out what's going on in your personal life. If you're respectful, following the rules, all those things, then I'll consider releasing you. But at this point, there's nobody to release you to. Okay? So that's just part of it. Decisions have consequences. All right. So thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I be excused?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Taylor. Jakiah Smith. Why is this one? What did you do? This one is don't release without DJ. Mr. Smith, this is a detention hearing. I'm deciding whether to keep you here another 10 days or release you. If I keep you here, you have to see a judge every 10 days. Mr. I need you as your attorney. You do have a right to be silent. Okay. Maybe he was released. Okay. All right, Jakiah, this is back in November. Oh, this is one at Redbud Park. And then the Bedford had you for discharging a firearm. Oh yeah, caught over by the dumpster. All right, so you're level 3 confined. So I'm gonna go ahead and send you. Thank you, Jakiah. Condera Thomas.
Say good morning.
Good morning, Judge Kim.
Hello, Condera. I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. I'm deciding whether to keep you here or release you. If I keep you here, you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. Your attorney is Mr. Green, who is here. Good morning, Mr. Green. All right. So Sunday, Hearst PD brought you in. Runaway. Oh, this is one with Emily. We have somebody here from OCOK or CPS? Or
That was the Venetia Adamson, the one that was having trouble with her camera, Your Honor.
okay. Venetia, can you hear me?
It doesn't look like she's on anymore.
I didn't kick her off.
Okay. I know she was having connection issues.
Okay, that happens. Who was? The monitor? Oh, really? Okay. All right, we'll give it. Oh, there's Ms. Adams. Yeah, use your, thanks for looking at that. Use your discretion. All right, Venetia, are you here? All right, Andrea, I'm going to start this while we're waiting on Venetia to come back. I'm inclined to release you. You understand, you got a Tarrant County case now, right? So if I release you and you run away again, I can just sign a warrant for you to be brought back here, right?
Yes, sir, I promise I won't run away.
Your Honor, may I provide an update? I'm sorry. She has a case pending in Fort Bend County. That was an assault charge, and they were kind of just sitting on top of the case to see how she was doing since she was in CPS custody. And I talked to the probation officer in Fort Bend, and she needs to staff the case with the district attorney to see if they want to issue a warrant for her because she picked up a new charge in Tarrant County. But other than that, she is able to return to the place where she ran from, according to Ms. Adamson.
If you can let JPD out of Fort Bend County also know that we're willing to adjudicate and transfer dispo if they would like that to happen as well. All right, so yeah, just work with them on that one. Look, Andrea, you have to understand rules are rules. I'm stuck with rules. You're stuck with rules. We may not agree with the rules, but the rules are the rules, right? You have to understand that, you know, now that you have this pending case, I can issue a warrant at any time on your case, right, to bring you back here to Fort Worth, even from Fort Bend County, Harris County, El Paso County. It doesn't matter where in the state of Texas or even another state. Like, I can keep on bringing you back here to Kimbo, okay? So just, I need you to tell me that you're gonna follow the rules. That way I don't have to bring you back.
Yes, sir, I promise I'm gonna follow the rules. I'm not gonna run away. I'm not gonna pick up any more charges, I promise.
Okay, I will let you know. I know the judges in Fort Bend County. I know them well, okay? They're very good judges. They're very nice people. They're a lot nicer than I am. I really don't have tolerance for kids that have a pending case that go out and do knucklehead things. So you may be traveling across the state of Texas in the back of a van, coming back to Tarrant County over and over again because you're pulling these shenanigans somewhere else. Okay? So just remember that Judge Kim is not as forgiving as the other judges. You don't want to have to deal with me. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we'll go ahead, Ms. Turner-Hill. We'll go to release to the department, but Andrea, just don't see me again. Okay?
I'm not, I promise.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, at this point, under Chapter 54.08 of the Texas Family Code, since the further proceedings involve children under the age of 14, these proceedings are presumed to be closed to the public. The court, unable to find that the interests of the public or the child are better served by broadcasting these proceedings, we will discontinue the live stream on this. Please allow 20 seconds for the tape delay.
Thank you, Judge Kim. I appreciate that. I know Monica just woke up, but I can't get into what I've been getting into the last number of days, which is staying up for 8 hours straight. Not yet anyways. I will say this, guys. Thank you so much for joining me tonight for this detention dockets dinner. I had a great time. We have something very exciting coming up May 8th to 16th, where I'm going to be doing a cooking extravaganza. I want recipes. I want your special, I want the family special recipes, though, like the ones that your mama made or your grandma made. I am excited to be growing, and anybody that's new here, maybe from Irish Demon today, that was amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I know it's Saturday night, Amy. I know, but I did 4 hours, so I think that's pretty good. And I will be back tomorrow. And also I have all this content you can still watch all the time. Anyways, listen, guys, I really appreciate you all being here. I really mean it. You mean the world to me. I love our chat. I love our group. I love the experiences that everyone brings to the table and the learning that we all do together. That is really the key. I am so thankful that you guys have come by. You've made me laugh tonight as usual. You have, brought new things to mind, all these different things. So please, on your way out, make sure to hit the like or the dislike button, whichever one you want. And make sure that you have a good night, whether you get some sleep or not, no judgment there. But I will check in with you guys tomorrow. Please go ahead and leave 20 seconds for that tape delay, just like Judge Kim said. And I will talk to you later. Bye, guys.